Hello everybody, and welcome to our opening coverage of the 2026 Osiris League. We are in the qualifier semi-finals today, and I could not be more excited to bring you the match that we're going to be watching today. 1079, my old friends in 1079 against 2010. Let me go ahead and show you that matchup, show you why I think it's compelling. Actually, you know what? I've completely screwed this up. Let me change the thumbnail real quick. We're actually watching 33. We're watching 3777. I don't know why I thought 1079 was playing this match, but let me yeah, we are gonna watch one of the better known young kingdoms in this game. 3777 with my friend Popo. He's one of the leaders of this ARC team. And they're going up against 2010 here, which has had some very easy wins so far. So we are going to watch this match initially, and we'll see how it goes. If this match is not that close, we have a bunch of other matches that we can watch. So yeah, this should be very exciting. It's going to start in about 3 minutes, so I've got 3 minutes to fix this thumbnail. I was hoping to do a very professional broadcast here, get myself in shape for the, Osiris League finals, hoping that I'm going to be doing the official coverage again. But yeah, I didn't even get the teams right. I didn't even get the teams right in my thumbnail or in the intro to the video. But anyway, thank you all for being here. I really do enjoy casting Osiris League coverage. When I was much younger, I dreamed of being a sports broadcaster someday. I was a very successful sports journalist in college while attending the best journalism school in the country. I made one bad decision coming out of college where I chose to be the first full-time esports journalist in the history of the world. Yes, that is actually true. And that sort of squandered my mainstream sports journalism career. So this is the closest I'm probably ever going to get to being a sports broadcaster, is commentating Osiris League. It is one of the things I enjoy doing most in Rise of Kingdoms. So thank you all for joining me. Frost, thank you. Frost, my friend Frost asking if I'm ready for ROL tonight. Well, Frost, to be quite honest with you, my brother, I have not slept yet. We've got a match in about 6 hours, and yeah. I think we're going to win easily, Frost, so I think it's not that big of a deal that I am not like I haven't slept yet, but I'm ready enough, brother. I'm going to get ready by commentating, and that's a lot of, I'm one of those people who I learn by doing, so, we're just going to commentate a match, and I'll get some of my thoughts together that way. The only thing I'm not going to do in this match, everybody, is I'm not going to talk about the new changes to the ARC map that much. I call it the monster. It's the Anubis bosses that are in the corners of the map. We will certainly show how these teams handle that, but I'm not going to give my thoughts on it too much because I don't want to give our future opponents a glimpse into how we're thinking about the monster, because I think it is a very, very important part of the matches. But listen, let's get into this thing. I'm busy, trying to get these I'm busy trying to get. I haven't even looked to see how we can spectate this stuff. Well, here's the match we want. So maybe it'll let us in here in a second. Yeah, but basically, guys, I was just I got a crazy sleep schedule. I picked up a couple Celsiuses earlier, and it made me wide awake. So we're just gonna stay up and cast some Osiris League here. let's see if we can find it here. We're not able to get in yet. I wonder if we can only spectate Horus? Is that possible? Now the SIP match I think is not super bad. Yeah, the SIP match seems like it might be okay, so we might watch SIP if we can't get into Horus, but I really hope... Oh, we can. Okay, here we go. All right, so Boom Boom. Oh, we gotta wait 5 minutes. Okay. So let me see if I've updated the stream correctly here. 377 versus 2010. Yep. Boy, I did a really bad job of introing this stream. People are gonna be like, "This is a shit show." But listen, guys. I'm a very, very experienced Osiris League player, or Ark of Osiris player. If you have not listened to my broadcast before, I have streamed. I've been a commentator for on the official channel for the last 2 years, and part of the reason that I'm a commentator is because I have played a lot of Ark of Osiris, and I have been an Ark lead for all 126 of these matches that I've played. You can see from the skills used that I've cast almost 1,700 Ark skills in my life. I can practically guarantee you there's no other commentator who comes even close to this number. You can see that we've won about 77% of our matches lifetime. So I've got a very, very good record as an Ark lead. I really think this is a fantastic game format, and it has always been very, very fun to broadcast it. Do throw a like on the stream if you are enjoying my content, or if you think you'll enjoy my content as I get things together here in the next couple minutes. And we are getting ready to go in and watch BB77 Boom Boom against 2010. Now, BB77, they are a very big, big young kingdom. They've recruited in a lot of well-known players. I know that my friend Popo is a leader in this kingdom. I believe Apocalypse Gaming has a account in this kingdom as well. And I know from talking with Popo that, you know, they're taking this Osiris League seriously, but they also need to get in a lot of practice. We actually tried to practice with them a couple weeks ago, but some of their whales were not able to make the match, and so they canceled that practice. That's a little bit of inside info on these guys. But you know, looks like Frogboy, another YouTuber, is also in this alliance. So this is going to be very interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing how these guys play. And honestly, I'm looking to see how similar their strategies are to our Ark strategies, because Popo did used to play Ark of Osiris with us in 1770. He didn't play a ton, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these guys handle things. Let's see how close we are to being able to get into this match. 1 minute to go. Thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate it. And this will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. 1 second. I'm just going to turn the music down on my end a little bit so I can concentrate a little bit better. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the meta marches are. It'll be interesting to see how much Alp Arslan we see in Osiris League. I'm also curious to see how much Philip is being used. I don't think Philip was available last year in Ark. It's been over a year since we had the Osiris League, so certainly a lot of changes to the game. As far as last-minute predictions go, I do think that Cavalry is going to be the dominant meta for both rallies and garrisons, honestly. If I had to make one prediction, it's that we are going to see a ton of Attila David garrisons, and we are also going to see a ton of Attila Subutai rallies. Now, if we think about the new Archer garrison, for example, that came into the game, the new Archer garrison does do very well. So by the way, let's look at the how coordinated these teleports in are. You can see the blue team had no chill. They all teleported in very, very quickly. And then look at red team. Red team's much more disciplined here. And this is actually 2010. Very interesting, guys. the underdog in this match was much more disciplined about their teleports in here. So, you know, you can see a little bit of the lack of practice here from BB7, where they, you know, just everyone teleported in right off the bat. And so that means that if there are players here in the front who are going to teleport early, which you have to assume 132 million power player like Osiris League, for example, is going to teleport early, well, what that means is that some of the players who will be teleporting late, a player, for example, like Ian over here, only at 92 million power, Ian is going to be in the start zone for a long time, but yet his city is very far away. Imagine if Ian had Osiris League's teleport spot instead. He's getting to every single fight like 15 or 20 seconds faster. So, and you know, so Frosty, for example, lower power player, definitely has a good spot for him. But getting back to the meta, what I think as far as the Cav dominance is this. Obviously, the new Archer Garrison, Hayam, is not great against Swarm, and so Attila David remains the best mix of a very strong anti-Swarm Garrison and a Garrison that does pretty well against rallies. The thing about the Attila Subutai rally is that it does extremely well against Hera. So if we see any Hayam Hera garrisons, it'll do extremely well against that. It does fine against, you know, cavalry garrisons. And the thing about cavalry rallies versus infantry rallies is that I do feel like the infantry rally doesn't perform well against Hayam. So if we do see Hayam in a garrison, that can cause problems for the infantry rally. The Attila Subutai rally is simply a better all-around rally, and so I think we will probably see a ton of that at the highest end. Now, at this end, as we get ready for this match to start in 15 seconds, these teams don't have, you know, 4 cavalry garrisons and 4 cavalry rallies. That's asking a little too much. So I think we're going to see a mix of approaches here. As the gates open here on the opening Osiris League qualifying match of the season. Let's get it on. It's great to be back. And right off the bat, we see both of these teams using Energetic. Very interesting. Energetic is sort of old meta and still meta for a lot of teams. Let's see where the Sentry Wards get placed here as well. BB77 with the first Sentry out here. And not many other sentries being placed. Very interesting. Yeah. So it's so funny, guys, because I do have a big match coming up here soon. And, I mean, I want to, like, explain how I use sentries, but I'm kind of like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't do that. So I am going to be a little bit reticent on some points here because my team is still in this Osiris League. And, you know, I don't want to give anything away to our opponents. We are fighting 1824 next week, most likely. And I don't want to give any info to them. But let me know in the chat what you think of this match. Who is going to win? We've got 30 players on both teams. I did look at 2010 earlier, and they have never made it to the top 32 before. So we will see how they do here. Very interesting. So here's 2. So now the 3 sentries from red team have been placed. Very interesting that they put 2 sentries on this side very close to each other. So let's see what the red team has in store for this bottom side. Blue team still just with the 1 sentry out. I would say that's probably a very sophisticated play by BB7. We do see a lot of the very, very advanced teams holding their sentries because once you see the enemy movement on the map, I think you get a better sense of like where it's good to place the sentries. But we'll see how quickly they place these other 2 sentries on BB77. Frost in the chat saying, you definitely shouldn't tell our tactics. Yeah, Frost, it's tough, man. It's tough to try to serve the, you know, to do my best for the audience that we have on this match, while at the same time not giving anything away to our opponents. If it seems like I'm stepping out of line, Frost, type something real fast to get me to stop it. But here we go. I'm gonna cover up these skill bars for now. You see both teams using a scout to go through middle. So honestly, both teams looking pretty sharp here at the start. They both look like teams that have, you know, practiced in various ways to be effective in Arc. Arc is very much a team game here. So now look at this, a Shapur rally, a full Shapur rally headed to the enemy obelisk. And let's quickly look at the rallies. It doesn't look like both, it looks like, actually it does look like both teams have rallies to both enemy obelisks. Yep. But we see the Shapur rally being very quick. BB77 did use hard push early on, so this rally is moving faster, and it's going to have a buff to its fighting ability as a result of hard push. But look at how well covered this rally is. Yeah, you know, this rally has managed to freeze a lot of marches here at the obelisk, but at the same time, it's not going to cause any real problem here. Let's quickly check the other obelisk and see what's going on. The rally is coming to the blue side much slower without the hard push. And then here we have a full Attila Subutai rally, but again, really safe coverage with a lot of swarmers for the red team. My other friend Dan Kush here in the chat saying that he thinks the Attila garrison is best for everything. When we get to the later stages, that's all everyone will run in all their buildings. Yeah, Dan, that's what I think as well. I think we're going to see Attila David in every garrison in the later rounds. And then I think that with the modest rock, paper, scissors game that's happening with rallies and garrisons these days, I do think it's possible we'll see a variety of rallies, teams maybe trying to find the best option against the Attila David garrisons, which I feel like is probably Scipio Ivar. So we might see a bunch of we might see more Scipio Ivars than we otherwise would, just because teams are predicting full Attila garrisons. So both teams able to teleport in now. You can see that there was BB77 decides to not push in this lane before the building opens. It does look like they have maybe a slight numbers advantage here. So interesting that BB77 waited as long as they did. And then you see a couple players here, Thwat Lee, who we called out earlier, a lot of players back here not engaged in this fight. So not super crisp here by BB77. At this desert altar, let's look at the other one. And then red team here with a very strong push at this desert altar. We do see BB77 has taken the building at this point. They have a garrison in here, but it is getting swarmed down here by a really nice numbers advantage for red. Very interesting. You know, it's very interesting to see what BB77 is doing here. Look at how ineffective all these marches here at their Shrine of Life. They're doing really nothing. Like, all these marches are doing nothing at this point. They're probably waiting for the first rally to come out, but they've been completely disrupted. BB77 has been completely disrupted on this top side with all these pointless marches standing here as their inside lane not only loses the building, but just gets absolutely destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. And now listen, if you're 2010 here, I would leave some of these fresh marches at the building. Like, I would leave this Zuge march at this building because you have the potential to get first capture here. Yeah, so like these marches that are collapsing here and killing these marches walking here, I think they're doing the right thing. I don't think you just insta-sad face. I don't think all these marches at high health, like this Huo, should be insta-sad facing. I think they should have stayed at this building and made sure they get the first capture, because this is a great opportunity for a first capture. Yeah, Dan in the chat saying that BB77 should have done the practice match with us. Yeah, they're looking pretty rusty here. Not going to lie. For a high-profile team here, BB77 is looking rusty. But again, I think they have the stronger accounts. So really what we've seen so far in this match, with CH10 looking like the crisper, better coordinated team just means that this is going to be a very good match. I think this means it'll be a very good match. We've got 5 minutes to go before the first arc, and you're starting to see what BB77 had in store, though. They were planning to attack on the outside lane. I feel a little bit bad showing their future opponents what their strategy is, because it's very clear here. They were just waiting to push the outside lanes with their rallies, and so they are going to flip this Sky Altar before the first capture. There were 30 seconds left on the first capture, and they might manage to flip it. Now, the problem with the BB77 strategy here is that they're going to lose first capture on this Desert Altar, and that's really, really painful. Really painful. Now, Desert Storm here, so look at this, CH22, they're trying to flip the Obelisk here. They are trying to flip the Obelisk. They use Desert Storm, which was not a super good skill here because it's doing damage to the field marches, but they cleared the field marches without that Desert Storm. So an interesting, not great skill choice by CH10, but look at all this presence at the BB77 Obelisk. This is a huge problem. This is a huge problem for BB77. They need to take back this Obelisk in 90 seconds. Let's see if they have a rally up on it. I think this is an Obelisk rally, right? Yeah. So Ian here, he does have a rally up on this Obelisk. I think so. It's got to be, right? Oh, they have this one. I can't. I should know what these rally markers mean, but doesn't it look like they're rallying both obelisks, and that doesn't really make any sense? Anyway, it looks like Ian's got a rally up here, but it's going to be tough, man. They can just... CH10 can swarm this rally down as soon as it launches. Look at the reaction from BB77. They took the Sky Altar, and then all these marches had to walk back home to try and now the No Mark gets cast. They probably should have cast the No Mark instead of the Desert Storm, because No Mark doesn't reduce the timer if a building has already been captured. You have to do it before, and so BB77 does take back the Obelisk. If CH10 had cast No Mark earlier, they would have already taken this Obelisk. As it is, though, they are now getting wiped in the field. So, wow, BB7 is going to hold, I think. They're going to stabilize this situation. They are losing buildings in the early going, and CH10, with all their aggression, is still getting a pretty good approach to this mid. 2 minutes to go before mid. A lot of blue coming to the mid at this point. How is it looking for red? Red's... Boy, I got to tell you guys, the timing has just been a little bit off for CH10 early on. The timing on the Obelisk capture was a little bit off. They needed to cast No Mark before they took this building. That would have changed things dramatically. And then with this mid fight, if the mid was spawning now, they'd be in really good shape. But with 90 seconds to go before arc, it looks to me like the blue team is mobilizing a little bit better. Well, actually, it's pretty close, because look at this. The blue team, number one, a ton of players out of position here on the bottom side because they had to take back the Sky Altar. And then on the inside lane, BB7 is trying to take this Desert Altar, but let's see if they have a rally. It looks like they do. Yeah, they do have a rally here coming, but nothing. Look at the rally, not filled early on in a match because you don't have a lot of players teleported forward yet. Filling of these early rallies is super key. So, yeah, this is a good attack by BB7, except for the fact that, number one, their rallies is not full, and number two, look at all this side presence from CH10. I think this is going to be enough defense to hold this building. We've got to also keep an eye on this Obelisk rally. It's a full Attila rally on this Obelisk, and, you know, this bottom side, they're distracted by the Desert Altar fight. They're also distracted by the mid. So a lot going on here early in the match. It looks like this Obelisk is pretty full. You look at the white numbers, and it's pretty even. It looks like the Obelisk is actually probably winning here slightly. So looks like the Obelisk is going to be okay. BB7 has stabilized, but at the same time, CH10 does have the early lead. I think they got some of the first captures from BB7's cities, or from their buildings. But numbers-wise, like I said, it looked like the blue team was going to mobilize a little bit better mid. Now, it's awkward because blue is still coming in. They're still coming in when this engage starts. So right now, the numbers advantage between the two teams is very even. So it's bogged down for BB7. That's the only skill casted mid. Only one skill casted mid. This is another real problem for CH10, is they blew their load early, and now they have no skills for mid. Just getting some very good value on this bog down. The whole fight taking place inside of blue team's swamp here, which is reducing the defense of their opponents. So a pretty close fight here. But you see the numbers for blue are just looking a little bit better here. The arc has been on red team's side for this whole fight, and so that has given them a slight edge. And the sad faces are still looking pretty even. I gotta tell you, just based on this mid fight, it does look like CH10 hits about as hard as blue here. If anything, there's more sad faces from the blue side, even though they had a points advantage. So yeah, you know, we definitely have a close match on our hands. My sense is we're going to stick with this match the whole way, guys. We're just giving you a very traditional Osiris League coverage. One match, all 60 minutes. Let's watch this thing from start to finish and see how one of the famous young kingdoms in this game, BB7 from Kingdoms 3777, let's see how they do in their first Osiris League test here against CH10. Blue team does have this arc now. Very good pull by Mr. Six. And you can see how important this pull was, because the fight mid is still pretty even. Blue has the third wave now. This is the third wave of reinforcements. They've definitely got the edge on the third wave. Nothing coming from red. So I think at this point, this is a one arc for BB7. This will tie up the game. This will tie up the game. But look at this. Obelisk taken again by CH10. They are really disrupting the teleports at this point. As much as they have not successfully taken BB7's Obelisk, they have disrupted the teleports at this point. I think we can look at this in the game stats. Well, not really too much yet. 20 teleports for BB77, 19 teleports for red. So they haven't really disrupted the teleports yet, but I think right now they are, right? 42 minutes is traditionally a time when both teams pick up 2 additional teleports. But I think the timer for BB77 has been reset, and so they won't get any new teleports right now. We will monitor that as the match goes on. I think we will probably see red team have fewer cities in the start zone than blue team by a little bit, just because of how much they have disrupted this obelisk. And of course, the obelisk is also worth occupation points, so they are disrupting the occupation points of the blue team as well with these attacks. And, you know, the top side of the map has looked really good for the red team throughout this match. They got the first capture on the desert altar. They currently hold the enemy's Shrine of Life, and they have really, really messed with this obelisk. So, you know, they're looking really strong here on the top side. And blue team looks a little bit disorganized on the top. Very interesting. I'm not yeah, so here's Popo. Here's one of the arc leaders, Popo. He does not have one of the early teleports, which is interesting. Probably because he's one of the lower power players. You want to get your high power players in those first teleport positions, because in an arc match like this, in a competitive arc match like this, you will run out of troops. If you do not heal, you will run out of troops. So having more power for the people who are who are going to fight the most is a really key factor in Ark of Osiris. You want your players with the most power to teleport first, because they're going to be doing more of the fighting. Frost in the chat saying, looks like BB77 going to lose. They messed up their start very hard. Frost, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet. They definitely look discombobulated on the top side. CH10 has caused so much chaos on this top side that they're just, you know, getting huge value in the occupation game. Now, the question now is, like what is... but CH10 is not playing perfect either. Let's just say that. CH10 is not playing perfect. These marches should not be chasing this arc. I mean, this arc is just lost. I mean, this arc is in Blue's control. Well, boy, I mean, all Blue has to do is move this thing a quarter of a screen. They've just grabbed it here. Let's see what this double C can do. He's moving it. See, this is the thing. This is the thing about this late push for the arc. I would have never called this if I was CH10, but I mean, they've got a shot at it. They've got a shot at it. But see, that they lost this Desert Altar back, right? If those marches had not gone to chase this arc, then I think they would have still had the Desert Altar. This double C is going to die, so the arc does go down again. Look at how close it is to this building. This is an unbelievably close arc right here. If Blue Team can just get one more grab, they probably can get it in the building unless the building is full. You always have to worry about a building being full in a situation like this. Polga Hub picks it up. It's a full march. Polga Hub has a full march here. Is it headed into this building or not? Probably not. It looks like this building is probably full, but Polga Hub just needs a little bit of space. He's just going to wait until there's space, and there's the return for Blue Team. A very clutch return there by Polga Hub. A very nice play there, knowing that eventually, with that building being swarmed, there would be room for his full march, and it does get in the building, and that's a huge moment for BB7. They've lost the Desert Altar again here, but we have to say this was a bit of a waste for all these red marches that came over here. They didn't accomplish anything at all. I would have never walked all this way to do a Hail Mary steal of the arc. I would have stayed at this Desert Altar building and just gotten the value from holding this building. They do flip it again here, and let's see what's inside. Looks like it's just going to be a QSH YSG as the garrison here, as you see all these players rotating to the Shrine of Life. Let's see where the rally is. Yeah, no rally yet on the Shrine of Life. It looks like maybe they... Oh, and you know, we forgot to talk about the Anubis monsters. The first Anubis monsters have been taken. It looks like both teams won one of the Anubis monsters. I will try to explain the buffs to you next time, but essentially for the first monster, you gain a 15% scoring bonus for about 4 minutes. It's a 15% scoring bonus for your buildings. And so what we see right now is that, well, it's a little bit hard to see the scoring bonus at the moment because both teams have some buildings that are just not generating points. But Kuro, how's it going? So many familiar faces in the chat. All familiar faces in the chat. It's very nice to have you all chatting. Can one stranger who's watching this stream please say hi in the chat, because there are 17 of you watching. I appreciate everybody supporting my channel, but so far every single person who has talked in the chat is someone who I know quite well. So, or maybe this is not Kurome. I thought this was Kurome who was talking, but it looks like this is a different Kuro. But how's it going? Or maybe, I don't know, Kuro, have you just not played Ark in a long time, or what? Anyway, we do have some new changes to the Ark map. H2O, what's going on? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. It's always good to see old friends, and also nice to make new ones as we cast this Osiris League coverage here. We've got a heck of a good match on our hands here. So, everybody just buckle up. An upset is brewing here in week 1 of the knockout stage. Kingdom 3777 trailing right now against CH10. Now, they did return the arc very quickly. A very quick arc return from BB7. Now, BB7 has not used Gnome Arc yet. which is very notable, right? We assume they have no mark on their bar, but, you know, but actually when I look at their bar, it's actually a little bit hard to picture them having no mark because they only have 2 skill slots left, so they could have no mark and time warp, but that would mean they don't have 2 to the death on their bar, and that they would only have 7 points for mid. So as I look at the skill bar of the blue team, I actually don't think they have no mark, which is a very interesting choice, and a choice that I don't agree with, honestly. No mark is so powerful that I think all teams have to do it. Oh, so, yeah, Kuro, of course. Yeah. Kuro, I'm just, like, surprised that you don't play Arc anymore. Because you were just, like, such an incredibly good... You're so good at Arc. But, yeah. Yeah, Arc's a little bit different, Kuro. I mean, you know. There's these monsters here at the edge of the map that add a very unique element. I think, without giving too much of my thoughts on the monster away, they are one change that is iterative, but that iterative change does make things quite different. It essentially adds a new dimension to the game, right? Which is that in the past, all you could do is win the side game, win the mid game, or win the gathering game. But now you can also win the monster game. So it's a new dimension that you can win at. Six, good to have you here in the chat. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate the support. It's good to see that the numbers on this stream are doing pretty good here. So, yeah, glad you all are enjoying the Osiris League coverage. And it looks like my chat is working too, which is a relief. Do you guys think the chat is in the right spot on the screen? Whatever. I think it's fine. So let me get a bit of an update here because I'm rambling a bit. So blue team has now taken the desert altar on the bottom side. We saw this strong attack on this building with the Shapur rally, I believe it was. Yep, Shapur rally against no garrison. So, yep, so red team was unable to get a garrison into this building, and BB7 seized on that opportunity with a not full rally, but it was a meta rally, and so they did flip this building. That's a very big flip for BB7 because now they are finally disrupting the flow of the red team for once. You can see here at the Sky Altar, a building that BB7 has had trouble with earlier in the match. They are just chilling out, playing defense. They've got a pretty good... They've got like a fledgling defense at this Desert Altar. I do think this Desert Altar is going to get taken back by red here pretty soon. They are in a good position to clear the field. But look at this. Look at the sort of lack of coordination from red here. They've got the rally going to the Sky Altar, but they have no field support at all. And then at the same time, there's no take-back rally on this Desert Altar yet. Let's see if they have one up. It looks like they do. Wait, actually they don't. So look at this. CH10 has no take-back rally on this building. This figures to be a pretty full building, so they're just going to have to full swarm it down. And we've got Arc in a minute and a half, guys. Listen, I can tell that I need to practice my Osiris League coverage because I'm not super sharp here, guys. I sort of lost track of when the Arc was. It's going to be happening in 1 minute, and you can see that red team, as much as they are struggling on this bottom side, they have again taken the Desert Altar on the top side, and they have mobilized mid much better than BB7. Blue team got the first Arc, but now with this key second Arc, and this is an incredibly important Arc, the red team has fully mobilized. They have taken the temple with force, and honestly, the only thing that could kill them now is maybe overextending, but they are so dominant here that actually I think BB7 has decided to not go for this second Arc. They're just going to give up the Arc. I think at this point with 30 seconds to go, this is the correct call, but they are in deep trouble. They are in deep, deep trouble here because CH10 can hold this Arc and then use no mark, and that's going to give them a huge advantage. A huge advantage in this match. Now, there will be a third arc. No, even if CH10 holds this for a very long time, there will be a third arc. But CH10 can hold this arc. They can make it a 3-arc game. They can use no mark a second time to give them an even bigger lead. And honestly, at this point, the lead is starting to look insurmountable for BB7. They are in deep trouble in this match here. They have to win the structure game for the second half of this match. They have to win some of the monsters, and they're going to have to win this third arc, because they, from what I can tell, did not put no mark on their bar, and that's going to be a huge number of points. That is thousands of points that it's going to cost BB7 by not having no mark on their bar. There's the hard push from CH10. Interesting. Both teams using hard push here. Very interesting. We can see that CH10 has still only used 3 skills. They didn't have to use any skills to win that second mid. You know, I have to tell you, I called something wrong earlier in the match. The Desert Storm was actually early in the match. I criticized the Desert Storm used by CH10. It was actually the blue team that cast Desert Storm there. So I called something a misplay earlier by CH10, but in fact it was not a misplay. But very interesting stuff here. Yeah, BB77 in a bit of trouble. And here's the thing, right? The red team sent like 40 or 50 marches to mid, which should have given the blue team an advantage on the side. We finally see them taking it, leveraging that advantage. They have taken the Shrine of Life, and there's the no mark from BB7. So, as it turns out, it's just an interesting skill bar from BB7. They have no mark and probably time warp. So that's very key. You see that no mark being cast by the blue team, and then you see the boost to their points per minute scoring as a result of that no mark. The no mark will last for 5 minutes and boost your occupation score in all these buildings. So here we've got the Nevsky Garrison against a bunch of red health swarmers. Can the Nevsky hold up here? It looks like they're going to do it. So a pretty important hold here by BB77. Minhee, thank you so much for the comment. Thank you for the compliment, Minhee. And Minhee saying that her account would not even be good enough for the second team in 2359. Boy, it is incredible what the different levels of Ark of Osiris are, and the different levels of account strength. Minhee, formerly a rally lead in 1770, and a very good rally lead for our Ark team, and now she's saying that she wouldn't even be in the top 60 accounts in her new kingdom. Very interesting. Well, Minhee, I have to say, I think player skill matters a lot at all levels of Osiris League, so if I were the Ark planner in 2359, I would certainly put you on the team. So look at this, BB7 also taking the Sky Altar on the outside. I think all match long, one thing we've seen is that BB77 or BB7, boom boom, they have allocated pretty heavily to the outside lane. Here in the Sky Altar, they do have the Attila Garrison. Yeah. Looks like it's actually just going to be the Attila Subutai rally most likely as this garrison. You can see the full Achilles trying to swarm it down here. But BB77 taking buildings at the right time. They've got the no mark active, and this is when they have to get a points lead on the structure game, because they are down in a hypothetical sense by... Let's see, they're down 2,500 points right now. With this arc, they're actually down 6,000 points. So BB7 has a lot of work to do on a very dynamic map. Now, one thing we want to look at is the monsters that are spawning here in 3 minutes. The second monster definitely spawns at a different time than the second arc. So some very interesting choices are actually, well, I'm not going to say the timing stuff, but anyway, let's see how these teams handle the two Altars of Anubis. I call these things monster. We'll have to see if my nomenclature gets picked up by the other Osiris League casters. I'm not sure what other people call these things. I call it monster. That's a pretty good shorthand way to do it. But in a close match like this, the monster is a very big deal. The second monster will give you, again, that 15% points boost, and it will give you 20% march speed. Very, very helpful. My understanding is that the buffs on the monster do not stack, so basically capturing one of these two monsters will get you everything you can get, and then the whole deal with the other monster is, do you try to deny that monster? Do you try to deny your opponent from getting that monster by either killing it yourself or killing their marches that are trying to take it down? You do need about 10 marches to take down these Altars of Anubis the second time around. It gets tougher each time it spawns. Minhee, it is a 15% boost to your occupation score for the next 4 minutes. So it's just whatever you're getting per minute, it boosts that by 15%. We can see now that CH10 has used their second no mark of the match. They're getting 900 points per minute. This is absolutely huge. And they have returned the arc. So so very interesting, guys. Listen, you know, I have a reputation for criticizing the strategic choices of some of the best teams in the game. So I'm certainly not afraid to criticize the strategic choices of some of these, you know, lesser ranked teams here. I think that what CH10 has done here recently is probably a bit of a mistake. Look at what they've done here. Well, okay. Yeah, so they used 6 points. They used hard push a few minutes ago. 6 minutes ago, they used hard push, which is 2 points. Then they used 6 points on time warp. And then they used 2 points on energetic while returning the arc. I would be fine with those skill choices if they were going to hold the arc, but they returned the arc. And so now I am very nervous as to whether red team will have 10 points for this third mid-fight. The other issue I have with this return of the arc, I think this was a huge mistake by red team to return this arc. The other issue I have is they could have simply held this and made it a 3-arc game. But as it is, if blue team can capture the third arc and return it quickly, they could potentially make this a 4-arc game and give themselves a chance of coming back. So I think a huge mistake by CH10 there to return that arc. They should have made sure this was a 3-arc game. They could have potentially even skipped that third arc and had enough of a lead to win the match anyway. As is, they do have a very substantial lead of about 8,000 points. And so they're in really good shape. But if they let the blue team return two more arcs, that would make the game dead even, basically. So a big uphill battle for BB7, but let's see how they can do. And let's see. Okay, so here, yeah, so here are the monsters. Here are the monsters getting hit. Down here, on this side, it's the red team that has the shorter route. We see BB coming here in force. Then what about the top side? So yeah, they take the monster on the top side. You see the buff. You see the march speed buff here in terms of the animation. Now, this is going to be interesting because this one is being more heavily contested. Blue team really has no reason to take the monster at this point. They just want to deny the red team from getting the monster. We can see a bit of that 15% boost here as the occupation score has narrowed. The gap in occupation score has narrowed. But it's a game of trade-offs, guys. I mean, the thing about this new Ark of Osiris with the monster is that it is a game of trade-offs. The red team surrendered this second monster on the top side, but managed to take a building while that was happening because the blue team had abandoned the lane to go and kill that monster. I think it was probably overkill, a bit of overkill by BB to send this many marches to the monster. They didn't need this many to kill it, but again, you don't know how many marches the enemy team is bringing. That's one of the side effects of this fog of war, is that with these monsters that are at the edge of the map, you can see only one sentry being placed here by the red team to track the movements. And the red team has wiped the blue team ball, and it looks like they have enough to kill this Warden of Anubis. Here, I can show you the buffs here. Yeah, it's 15% team points, and then the march speed for 5 minutes. And you can see that the monster is not super easy, right? These are some very low marches. It'll be very interesting to see if these marches here, these 12 or so marches at low health, actually it's more like 10 marches, can they kill this monster? Looks like they're probably going to do it. Looks like they're probably going to do it. Well, look at this. They are really struggling with this monster. You can see that, man, when you are not at full health, it becomes very touch and go. Looks like they will get this thing, though. CH10 cutting it very close, trying to take down this Warden of Anubis. And, you know, if you're blue team, you just wonder, like, imagine if, like, these 3 marches had just come over here to try to harass this monster. They might have stopped them from getting it, but there we go. As that's happening, we got a full mobilization mid. As I said, I'm a little bit rusty because I'm missing some stuff here. This is a key mid fight. Blue team has to win this mid if they are going to... Blue team has to win this mid if they're going to win the match. They have now cast their second no mark as well. And let's see if they have enough for Bog Down. Or let's see if they have enough for both of their skills, Desert Storm and Bog Down. They just used no mark like 4 minutes ago. That's 6 points. We'll see if they have enough for both their mid skills. I think if they don't have enough for both their mid skills, then it was a mistake to use no mark when they did. So there's the Desert Storm by blue. Unable to cast Bog Down yet. Red team has taken this temple. Red team has a very good position here at this temple. And yeah, BB77, they need this second mid, but because they used no mark, they cannot use their Bog Down. And in a relatively close mid fight like this, they really did need the Bog Down, but red team looking in really good shape here. You know, I think this match is a really good example of how Ark of Osiris is such a skill game. And, you know, teams that have been playing together for years, even if they're not super serious, they have just developed a familiarity with how they are trying to play. And CH10 has been just the crisper team in this match. They had the better opening, and we have now seen them approach mid much better, honestly, on all 3 occasions. Even on the first mid fight, the red team did get to the temple first, I believe. And it is a big advantage. Getting to the temple first is a big, big advantage in Ark of Osiris. So it looks like we picked a very good match today. We've got a good crowd watching, and I think that's because they can... There's an upset brewing. I mean, this is a very big upset here. 377 you know, one of the best known young kingdoms in the game. They are in some deep, deep trouble here against 2010. And you just got to think about it, guys. Kingdom 2010 has been playing Ark of Osiris for years longer than 377 has been playing Ark. For years longer. And credit to 2010 here. They have never made the top 32 before, but they are on the verge of pulling an upset against the top seed in their group, which would put them in the driver's seat to advance to the top 32 for the first time ever. And I'll be honest, guys, as someone who has played Ark for many, many years, these are honestly the situations that I dream about, that I have not had an opportunity to really experience in Osiris League before, is, you know, being in a comfortable position to get potentially the biggest win of your entire career. I imagine this for most of the players on CH10, this would be the biggest win of their Ark career. And it's not as if they even have to sweat it out that much. Like, they're not even sweating this one out because they're in such good position. You know, I'm starting to wonder if we want to switch matches at some point. If there's a very, very close match that someone is seeing in the chat, let me know and I will consider switching to that. I think it's pretty safe to say that this one is over at this point. If Blue Team wants to win this match, they have to steal the Ark, but you can see that they're really in no position to steal it. Woody says a learning moment for 377 Ark leaders. Yeah, could be. Could be. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, what did they do particularly badly here? I think their opening was not good. I think, you know, the biggest issue I pointed out with the opening was, like, all these players here should have just been at the Desert Altar, and then you just make the situation of the Desert Altar so much better. I think what's hard to judge about Blue Team here is it's hard to tell how much of this was lack of preparation versus them just getting so disrupted. It just feels like Red Team disrupted Blue Team so hard, so many times. They have flipped so many Blue Team buildings that I just think the rhythm of Blue Team was never there. It was never there. And you know, with Red Team, you know what I think? What I like from Red Team is they are just, like, they're sticking together. They're doing a great job of sticking together, right? Like, a lot of times you'll see teams attacking both lanes, right? But what Red Team is doing here on the top side is they have everyone attacking this Desert Altar. Now, at times, they've crushed the Shrine of Life. But right now, they're fully focused on the Desert Altar. So it's just been strength in numbers for BB7. And they've just been dominant. They've been dominant on the sides. Oh, Eva's saying that 2010 was in the top 1632 a few seasons ago, but using another shell and with a very different group of players. Okay. So, yeah, so some of these players are very experienced in Ark, and you can tell. You can tell that this has been a very good team here in CH10. Woody's saying that 2293 was also losing. Very interesting. SIP is playing against a team called NB. So yeah, a few upsets. Some pretty well-known teams percolating here at the 13 UTC hour. Yeah, and at this point, it looks like that Blue Team is pretty demoralized. They've lost all of their buildings now. All 4 buildings are now in the hands of Red Team. Let's look at the fighting. The fighting is pretty even. There's not a huge difference in the total kills to severely wounded ratio. A bit of an edge for CH10, but I think we can chalk that up to them being just in, like, a better position and having Blue Team outnumbered all over the map. I don't think the account strength is better for CH10. I think they've just been in the better places. So I'm going to go ahead and look and see if there are any really close matches. Let's try to find something real close here. Yeah, it looks like SIP is actually really in a close one. So let's take a look at this. Chisgle's Kingdom, his secondary account's Kingdom, 2293 here. So we've got a dead even game. Arc is being held by SIP. So actually SIP is in pretty good position now. SIP basically has like a 4,000 point lead with 10 minutes to go. They can make this the last arc of the match. And it looks like they just cast No Mark as well. So that's going to give SIP even more of a lead. You can see that they're earning twice as many points as NB. So it looks like this was a scare for Stoners in Pajamas, but it looks like they are going to win. They are going to win this match. They're looking pretty good, actually. Let's look at the stats here as well. Yeah, pretty similar kill ratios here. So it looks like SIP is in pretty good shape. I wonder if there's any other matches we can take a look at that are really close. I suppose we'll be asking a lot to find a super close match. But I'm gonna look through a couple of. Just gonna look through a couple of these real quick. I don't expect this one to be that close, but let's take a look. By the way, good afternoon, Irgandir. Good to have you here, and thank you for your recent comments of support. I just read them this morning, so I appreciate you. Okay, this is a blowout. As expected, 1473 winning easily here. I've got some other matches we can look at real quick. Big Daddy, thank you so much for the dono. Very, very much appreciated, Big Daddy. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate that. It's all... Me staying up all night is now all worth it after the dono from Big Daddy. Alright, so we got Division 5. We got a match that we can look at. DBS versus CB. Let's take a... probably this one's probably not close, but let's take a look. Only 1 minute left here. No. Yeah, this one's not close. We're trying to quickly find a close match that we can just catch the last few minutes of. Maybe this one? Well, we've got a close mid-fight here anyway. Okay, here we go, guys. Here we go. We found it. Tie game. Fighting over the last arc. The arc is not spawning for 3 minutes, though. Oh, no, yeah, the arc is not actually spawning for 3 minutes, and here they are fighting it out. So, the blue team has way more power than Omniscient here, but we have a tie game. Blue team with a slight advantage on the sides, but it looks like red team has the edge mid to the death being cast by the red now, and to the death from blue team. So competing to the deaths here for this mid fight. You can see a lot of players from blue not at the fight yet. All of red team is at this fight, and they've just got a huge numbers advantage. Their to the death is going to be super effective here. Super effective to the death by the red team. I'm starting to realize that I'm being very loud in my apartment. I always wonder if I am ever disrupting my neighbors by like commentating at 7 in the morning. But I don't think we're disrupting the neighbors. I think we might have woken up a nearby dog, though, because he's barking like crazy right now. So here we go. A crazy mid-fight that we just walked right into here, where like they were just going at it, but there were 3 minutes before the arc spawned. So here's the situation in this match. Blue team does have a slight lead. They're getting way more points per minute. And let's quickly look at the gatherers. A couple of gatherers for blue and no gatherers for red, right? We see that the blue team has already brought in a decent amount of provisions. They've got the lead occupation-wise. And so basically, red team has to return this arc. They're going to have 3 minutes to return this arc. If they can do it, they likely win the match. If they can't do it, they likely lose the match. Kuro says, screw the neighbors. The thing is, Minhee, is that my neighbors already think I'm crazy, right? Because these are not the nearby neighbors, but like the neighbors across the street, they see me out of my balcony all the time, smoking, and they're like, this guy just never stops smoking. And they probably smell it as well. And it's like, if that's not crazy enough, it's like this guy talks to himself at 7 in the morning. I mean, listen, I adopted the attitude of screw the neighbors a long time ago, as you can tell. But I mean, I guess I worry about it every once in a blue moon. But here we go. The big concern here is red team. They still have to wait another 30 seconds before this arc spawns. And look at what they've done. This is really bad move. This is disappointing movement by red here, right? All these marches chased like some pointless kills over here. And now look at this. Blue is now surrounding this temple, and they've gotten to the temple, and they can probably gum this up enough to make it very hard for red team to return this in 3 minutes. Pedro, the thing about saying what I'm smoking is like, I don't want to go... Dude, I always worry about like what Lilith is going to think if I just say too much. I mean, it's cannabis. Yeah, I smoke a lot of cannabis. That's what it is. So, yeah. But listen, guys, I am sober for this match. I am as clear-headed as I've been in a week for this match right here, trying to give you the absolute best coverage that I possibly can here in the qualifier semifinals of the 2026 Osiris League. We watched 377 get upset earlier, and now we see the potential of another upset. Omniscient in red trying to pull off an upset here, but they've only got 2 minutes to return this arc. They have 2 minutes to return it, and you can see that the blue team is just trying to like delay this thing. And look at this. Blue is just heavily gumming up this mid. Red team really needed to get this arc more to their side early. They had some questionable movement about a minute ago that might have potentially cost them this match. It is legal. It is legal where I live, but every once in a while, I think that there are young people playing this game. I know there are some young people playing this game. I don't want to be a bad influence on people. And I will say that cannabis you're better off not using it, right? It may make you feel good, but it makes you very, very stupid. So, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, for both the adults and the kids out there, bad habits can be enjoyable. It's not wrong to have some bad habits, but you have to keep them under control. And if you want to be the absolute best version of yourself, then you would have as few bad habits as possible. And that's all I'll say about that. We've got a minute to go. Red team they've actually managed to secure this arc better than I thought. They've got a very good escort. They can probably afford to, I don't know if they can lose it. That's the problem. This Huo is very low. The Huo is very, very low. The Huo hasn't even decided which direction to go. The Huo stayed at this spot way too long. I would have kept heading to the outpost, I think. Just as, like, you're just not going to make it to the shrine. Like, you might own the shrine, but you're not going to make it. Blue team, with the 2,500 point lead, they have now brought in most of their gatherers. This gatherer could still needs to go home. This gatherer needs to go home right now. But listen, at the end of the day, blue team did enough. They slowed down this arc return, and they are going to hold on to win this match. Rohan Knight playing with fire, but getting through the blaze. They are going to advance to the qualifier finals here against Omniscient, who put up a very good fight. Undead Unluck, the MVP in this very good match between Kingdom 29-25 and Kingdom 35-17. Look at this. Rohan Knight, they did get out-ratioed here. Omniscient getting 6 million more total kills, but Rohan Knight managing to win the match with an outstanding occupation score. Very good match there right at the end for Rohan Knight. And let me go ahead and I can put the... Oh, wait, I got to put the... All right, the webcam might... Everybody likes the bloopers with the webcam, so we might get one here because I took it off. It looks all right. Whatever. Close enough. Close enough. So, yeah, some good matches there. If we look at the featured matches, let's see if we see anything interesting. Yeah, so SIP held on in the realm of Bastet. In the realm of Horus, we did see Boom Boom losing to CH10. And as far as the other matches here, we're not quite sure yet. We're just waiting for the scores to populate. We might be able to look at it here. Yep, we can look at it here. Let's go ahead and go through some of the close matches that I tagged earlier. Yeah, so I thought this might be a close match because both teams had a lot of power, but clearly 1473, they've been very strong in KVK recently, and they pulled off a very, very strong win over NST in this division. Let's quickly look at 1079. This was the other match that I thought about casting. Oh, wait, this is not the one. It's this was the match we watched earlier. CH10 pulling the upset against BB77. Yeah, Minhee, we are going to be facing 1824 very likely in the next round. So look at this. This is the match we were going to watch, guys. This was super close. This was a super close match. It looked like it was going to be close with SO4L having a bit more power than 1079, and SO4L pulling off what I would regard as a slight upset against 1079 here. So 1079 misses out on the final 32. And it looks to me like Soul here is going to have a pretty tough fight against 06K9 in the qualifier finals. Pedro says we're about to get cooked. You're going to play against 1981, the second alliance. Yeah, Pedro, I was looking at that team. It will be interesting to see how 1981's second team plays. What else did we want to check here in Horus? We can check Division 21 here. I thought this would be a close match. It was 1786 advancing against 3494. NC, an old school team, Northern Crown. I remember them from way back in the day. I think they played in some fairly big KVKs against Drago's Kingdom, if I'm not wrong, many, many years ago. And then we've got, 2461. They won pretty easily in this match. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to check. Maybe Anubis Division 5. And then CB, here's a good example of the skill that exists for for Ark of Osiris, CB had a lot less power than DBS, right? They had... Yeah, they had 4 billion less power here than DBS, but they won very comfortably. Anyway, CB, an experienced veteran alliance. They used to be in Kingdom 1307. And you see, we saw in a couple matches today that experience is very, very useful in Osiris League. Now, obviously, the teams that practice a lot, they are getting the best experience because they're practicing with the actual Osiris League team and the players they're going to be with. But these older kingdoms that play Ark together every 2 weeks, they've gotten practice over the years, basically. And I think that does matter a lot. Minhe's saying, I'm really curious who will win OL in general. 2359, 1093, 3808, and so on. I believe 49 is a different team. So, I mean, yeah, so Minhe, you would maybe know a bit more about 489. It didn't look to me like their team is that different because, I mean, they still have their Vietnamese players and they still have, you know, their Korean leader in BK Love. It looked to me like the players who left 489 were a lot of ex-1960 players. So I don't know how many players on their last OL team have left this this kingdom. I'm honestly not sure. Woody, as far as who we are practicing against, I don't want to say who we have practiced against in the past, but I will say this. We are looking for a practice partner for next week. Ideally, we'd be looking to play on Saturday at 19 UTC. If you're a team that is still alive in the Osiris League, or just a team that wants to get a good practice against a team that has, we've got about 3 billion power or whatever. I'll show you what we have. Yeah, we got 3.2 billion power. So if you're a team that wants to get a good practice in next weekend, you can reach out to me. We are looking to practice against somebody next Saturday, ideally. Pedro, am I excited for the World Cup or don't care? Yeah, Pedro, I'm not a big soccer guy. Yeah, I'm not a big soccer guy. I have no idea. I basically am most interested in the sports that I can profitably sports bet on. I've been a successful sports bettor for, well, I'm not going to say 20 years because I took like a decade-long break, but I've won at sports betting for many years, and soccer is just something I don't know anything about. I mean, I used to play soccer. Soccer was one of the best sports that I played, but I've never really watched it, so yeah, I don't know. Well, I might get into it, Pedro. At the end of the day, I might get into it, because here's the thing, guys. For like 15 years, for the last 15 years, I have not had cable TV, and therefore, even though I'm a very big sports fan, and even though I am a sports bettor, I have really not been able to watch sports for like 15 years, because I just didn't have TV. I recently got a box that allows me to watch all sorts of sports. So the World Cup's going to be on. I'll have the opportunity to watch it. If I find somebody who's like a sharp World Cup handicapper who I can follow, then I might watch a fair bit of it. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, Woody, as far as what type of teams, yeah, we generally just we practice against teams that are at our level. We've practiced against some teams that you know, we've played against in regular Ark matches who are tough. So yeah, just like teams that are at our level. We tried to arrange a match with 377. Which they have more power than us, but they canceled that practice a couple weekends ago. Soccer. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, no football for me. Oh, I'm leaking a little bit. I'm leaking a little bit with Z. I'll read these DMs later. I'll read these DMs later. So listen, you know what? How are we doing here? How are we doing viewership-wise? We're doing pretty good. We got the dono from Big Daddy, which I greatly appreciate. I'm going to go ahead and stay online and cast at 15 UTC as well. Why not? It's bad for our own match, but guys, I am pretty sure we're just going to win our match. Like, I'm pretty sure I don't have to worry about our match, right? Because, like, this team that we're playing, they lost in the pool play. They got destroyed in pool play. So, I just don't think there's any world where these guys are very good. So, I'm going to be sleep deprived for the match. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. Listen, I'm sleep deprived for almost every important thing that I've ever done in Rocks, like competitive thing I've ever done in Rocks, so it'll be no different today. 1234 is in past 7. Yeah, a lot of past 7 stuff going on right now. I was thinking about just doing Champions of Olympia, but I think you guys probably will enjoy watching. I think you guys will probably enjoy watching KVK more. So let's see what how Woody's Kingdom is doing here. Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, free advice to other content creators. If you want to watch a good Osiris League match next weekend at 19 UTC, the match between 1824 and My Kingdom in Realm of Bastet Division 4 is going to be a very good. It's going to be a very good match. It's going to be a very good match. So, and we're like old rivals. So, yeah, tons of Path 7s kicking off here. So we can kind of just go around and look at some of these Path 7 battles here. Yeah, so it looks like this is going to be a left versus right Heroic Anthem. Or no, this is like, what map is this? Tides of War. It's the Tides map here. So left versus right on Tides. A little past 7 action here. Here's the rally. Pedro, I'm not going to stream our match. Our match today is probably going to be pretty boring. And yeah, I don't really stream our ARC matches or anything. Just because I feel like it would be distracting to me. Like, knowing that people are watching would probably, you know, affect how I play, basically. Uh, 1234 is a B seed. This is probably going to be a roughly B seed KVK that we have here. I can tell you this, as I see how my computer is running. I'm hoping that I can do official Osiris League coverage this year, but I probably shouldn't be the person hosting the streams because, yeah, my computer is pretty slow these days. But guys, we're going to stay online. The other thing we need to do is we need to find some good 15 UTC matches. I didn't look for the 15 UTC matches earlier, so we'll watch this KVK for a bit, but then we'll check out what matches we can watch at 15 UTC. You know, Pedro, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I actually don't know what country Makote plays for. I knew Makote's real name at one point, but I honestly have forgotten it. So let me know whatever team Makote's playing for. I will definitely root for that team, although obviously not when they play against the United States. Pedro, I'm excited for the WNBA, honestly. Like, the sport that's very exciting to me is the WNBA. Because, like I said, I haven't really watched sports regularly for like 15 years. And I view sports from the perspective of a bettor. And, you know, the WNBA is one of the easier sports to quote-unquote beat because the sharpest minds in the sports betting world are not really betting on the WNBA much because the limits are much lower. So for a smaller bettor like me, the WNBA is like the best opportunity to make money if you get really good at it, right? And I think I have my eye is best for basketball. I was a pretty good basketball player growing up, and so I think I'm pretty good at like assessing what's happening on the court. I'm certainly better at assessing what's happening on the court than I am at assessing what's happening on a football field where I never played football in my life, right? So I've been watching the WNBA a lot recently, and I think there's like, you know, you could just sort of like assess which team is better on the court at that moment, right? Like I was watching the Liberty play the Fever last night, Caitlin Clark's team, the Fever, and you know, I'm not really familiar with too many of the players. I've heard of Breanna Stewart before for the Liberty, but she was playing. She's like a taller player. She's like a forward, but she was playing point guard for the Liberty, and she was very, very effective. Like very, very effective in the second half. And I was just sort of like watching the game, and I'm like, man, the Liberty just seem like the much better team right now. Like they're getting way better shots than the Fever are. So I placed a live bet on the Liberty when they were, I think they were down 3 points and they were getting plus 1.5. They ended up winning the game by like 8 or 9 points. It was like a very easy win for me. So that was very exciting. Like I'm probably being a completely arrogant, delusional fool to think that I can watch a basketball game and get an edge against bookmakers when there's like literally been hundreds of thousands of people who have tried to do that over the years. It's probably completely delusional of me to think that I can do it, but I do think I can do it. You know, I think I've just like been around sports long enough and have a good eye for some of this stuff that I'm just going to watch a ton of the WNBA and try to handicap it myself. And I'm going to really focus on just in-game betting, like watching the first half and betting the second half. I think that's just going to be like a really cool project for me, because the truth is I've been a successful sports bettor for many years, but I've never handicapped myself. I've always just had good information sources and gotten good picks from other people. Dan says, I used to be interested in the WNBA because of Caitlin Clark, but she's shit now. Well, I'll tell you what, Dan. I'll tell you what, man. Caitlin Clark is a very interesting player to watch, right? Because she is a very good player, but I will be honest, I think she's a little overrated. I think Caitlin Clark is a little bit overrated because people tend to really, like people care about scoring, right? If you score a lot, people think you're a great player. It's like kill points in Rise of Kingdoms, right? People just judge people. They judge people's rock skill by their kill points, and people judge basketball skill by how many points you score. But there is so much more to being a great basketball player than being able to score. And the thing is, Caitlin Clark is like, she's one of the smallest people on the court every time. Like, she's almost always one of the one or two smallest people on the court. And, you know, generally speaking, when you want to exploit a team's defense, you try to take advantage of the smallest player playing defense. And so you know, it's just very interesting to like use first principles to judge these things rather than just like listen to other people, right? Because I would have assumed, based on reading X over the last 2 years, that Caitlin Clark was like way better than Angel Reese, right? That would be the vibe I get from Twitter. But like, I watched Caitlin Clark play yesterday and I watched Angel Reese play yesterday. And if Angel Reese is not a better player than Caitlin Clark today, my bet would be that in about 3 years, she will be, right? Because Angel Reese she's big and she's athletic, right? Now, can she shoot anywhere near what Caitlin Clark can shoot? No, she can't. Is her handle anywhere near as good as Caitlin Clark's handle? No, it's not. But I think, you know, a lot of these big players in the NBA and WNBA, they take longer to develop than guards do, right? Like, we're seeing Karl Anthony Towns in the finals play the best basketball he's played in 10 years, right? Like, Karl Anthony Towns is like 10 years into the league, I think, maybe. And he's playing the best basketball of his life right now. And his game has continued to evolve over the years, right? As a big man. And I just think we're going to see Angel Reese do the same thing. And that Angel Reese is eventually going to become an incredibly dominant player. Whereas, like, I don't know how much more dominant Caitlin Clark can really become. Now, I've been talking about sports for a while. I wonder how the viewership is doing. We're doing good. 20 of you want to hear what I have to say about sports. I love this. I'm giving you the you know, the viewership here of KVKs, but that's great. That's great. Minnie says, I never tried betting before besides OL stuff in Rock. Yeah, listen, we're trying to do a little bit of scouting for the Osiris League betting. I'll give you guys some good Osiris League betting as time goes on. We were talking about what teams could be good this year in Osiris League. I think 1093 is the favorite. I think we have to say that 1093's main team is the favorite. 2359 obviously has a ton of great players now. We'll have to see how their arc leads do. 2359 has really never done a lot in arc. Let's take a look at what 2359's accomplishments are. I think it's very notable that Viet Minh, he migrated to 3672. So it's possible that 3672 might have a very good arc team this year, because I do think Viet Minh is one of the best arc leads. But these guys, you know, there's some wild cards. There's some wild cards this year for sure. Now, so they got Stafer, right? Like that's a big deal, right? Stafer, the architect of the 1960 upset last season. Stafer could potentially be the arc lead for 2359, and that could be huge for them, right? Like, bringing in a top tier arc lead could be very, very good for them. So yeah, they'll be an interesting team for sure. But you know, the thing is, it's not all about the arc leads, right? Like, I think probably the biggest mistake I've made as a commentator over the last couple of years in arc is I think I've focused a little too much on the arc lead. And made it and treated it like the arc lead is like way more important than the fifth best player on a team. But I think really that... Do I still have Duke? Oh, I still have Duke. Nice. Look at this. I requested Duke an hour and a half ago, and I still have it. Nobody else has wanted Duke. A dead kingdom. I guess we're a dead kingdom. Nobody wants Duke. Dan's saying that he doesn't think Caitlin Clark has improved and that she's still the same player. Could be. I know she's been injured. She was injured last year. And, you know, she's a small player who plays aggressively, and she does get bullied a bit. You know, I mean, you know, one of the metas last year was that, you know, where people were complaining how rough Caitlin Clark was handled. Obviously, there was the one incident where she was really roughed up, and then Sophie Cunningham retaliated later on in the game. I think there's probably some truth to the fact that Caitlin Clark got roughed up last year. I think there's some truth to some of the WNBA vets, like, downplaying her ability for, like, no good reason. But, like, yeah, like I said, she hasn't been, like, all that impressive to me this year. Like, I don't find her all that impressive. So maybe those WNBA vets had a bit of a point, where they're like, why are you all so focused on Caitlin Clark? I think it's almost certainly true that she's not the best player in the WNBA. I don't know who is the best player. I guess, I guess Asia Wilson is the best player. Yeah, there's like no world. There's no world where Caitlin Clark is better than Asia Wilson. And I'll show you a rookie this year. I'll show you a rookie this year who might be as good as Caitlin Clark. I bet I can find some highlights of her real quick. I bet I can find some highlights real quick. I feel bad that we're talking sports. I feel bad that we're talking sports the whole time. But listen, this girl with the afro, this girl Olivia Miles with the afro is one heck of a player. She's like a taller point guard. She's a pretty big point guard. Maybe you could say like a Magic. I don't know. I mean, Magic Johnson's a crazy comparison, but it's the first person I thought of when I saw her playing a couple days ago. Uses her size, has good speed. I mean, her finishes at the hoop are fantastic. You know, she doesn't have like the fastest first step in the history of the world, but you know, she gets past people and then, well, that's an easy finish. But I mean, this girl is like probably as good as Caitlin Clark, right? She gets like 1/100th of the hype as Caitlin Clark, but as a rookie, she's probably just as good. Natsu, how's it going? But yeah, honestly, I've heard for years that from people who I'm friends with who are really into basketball that the women's basketball is like a really good product, and I do agree with that as well. Sorry I'm talking about basketball so much, but it's been like really interesting to watch it for the last few days. I think like young people are literally better off watching how WNBA players play than watching NBA players, because I think like a normal male, just physically, in terms of physical abilities and also physical strength, in many cases is like closer to a WNBA player. So like the things that work for WNBA players are more likely to work for like the average male high school student. But I do think it's a great product. It's just like a more relatable level of basketball that I find very, very interesting. So Kuro, right now, we haven't, it's a good question. How many kills? Yeah, so we can't really show you the kills too much here, Minhee, because we're kind of like split between alliances. HDS is the alliance we play Osiris League in, but N70C is the alliance we're using in the offseason. But yeah, I guess we've got basically like 500 billion KP. And yeah, like we've got like 11 billion power, something like that. We're just like we're a mid A seed pretty much. I'm really glad so many people are participating in the chat. It's always good to hang out with old friends and stuff. And, you know, listen, for those who are in 770 now, because, you know, I think I am sometimes a hard person to talk with, because I just I disappear sometimes. I'm a hard person to build a relationship with. If you ever do want to connect with me, the absolute best way to do it is just hang out on some of my streams. I love handling business in public and stuff like that. But it's very nice to have so many old and new friends in my alliance. Although, you know, one of you could join my Barb Fort rally here. All right, so let's figure out some matches that we can watch at 15 UTC here. If anybody knows of a good match, let me know. I'm just going to go through them pretty quickly here. I'm honestly going to look for teams that are a little bit interesting. But let's mostly look for like this could be a close match, but these guys are so low power. I don't think we want to watch either one of those. I mean, 69 Lovers is a pretty old school kingdom, so this one might be interesting. I'm just gonna write some of these down. Bastet, Division 5, 69. Yeah, 69 Lovers have made it relatively far in Osiris League before, so we could watch them. Woody says, my relationship with Brian is just waiting for him to upload the KL battles we did together. Woody, I think I'm done with that. I was good. Like, originally I was gonna show a third. I might make another video of that KL Woody. I'm not sure. Like, I've got more footage for it. Like, there's more good footage, but I don't know that there's a good story anymore. Because basically at this point we just sort of like turned the tide. DQ39, that's another team we have to factor into who are going to be some of the favorites to go deep in the Osiris League. Here's 93T's second team. Or no, this is 1903, sorry. I got confused about that earlier, too. This might be an interesting match to watch. I mean, just to see how 1903 plays. I mean, this is their second team, but you know, they're traditionally a good ARC team, so I imagine this team's going to be pretty well practiced. Here's 1981's main team, LB81. You can see that they're going up against 1002 here, so LB81 looking comfortable to get out of their group. You know, 748 would have been a team that I would say was a huge favorite, but I just noticed about a week ago that their old ARC lead Viet Minh did migrate, so 748 probably isn't going to be as good as we thought. Guys, I'm gonna just give me like 30 seconds. I need to grab some water. Looks like we've got about 20 minutes before the next wave of matches begins. After I stream this next match, I'm gonna have to decide whether I just stay up until I guess I'll have to decide if I'm gonna stay up until 19 UTC or am I gonna get like 2 hours of sleep before our match. Not quite sure. This match could be close. Again, we're just looking for close matches here. OWR, a team that we have to consider a favorite. OWR got very deep last season. They don't have the most power, but they didn't have a lot of power last season either, and they made it very far. Listen, I lean towards the older teams having the edge, honestly. I mean, you know, do I make OWR, so JST, you know, JST has a ton of experience. JST's at 4.7 billion power. If I'm not mistaken, I think 1981's team was at 5.3 billion power. So it's like JST versus 1981. Who do I think would win that match? Now listen, 1981 could get a ton of practice. Like a team could practice a ton and, you know, neutralize the experience advantage that JST has. But until you prove to the commentators that you've put in a ton of practice, until that point, I'm picking JST against 1981, right? I just think like that experience is extremely valuable, right? Because I think the most important thing in ARC is having about 10 players who are super, super good and make the best individual decisions over and over again over the course of a match, right? Because, you know, each player with those 5 marches out there, they have to decide where to go, you know, and they have to fight well once they get there, right? So, you know, having those elite players, having a third of your team be absolutely elite players, I think is something that's A, super important, and B, it's and B, it is, I don't even remember what I was going to say. I completely forgot what I was going to say because I started thinking about this match. Having like super expert players is A, extremely important, and B, it's very hard to get those players, right? Like you have to have somebody who has a great account. They have to be really good at games and being able to have to make good analytical decisions over and over again. And they have had to have practiced ARC a lot. And I just think that with Grand Prix and years of Osiris League, I think there are players on JST who are just have had like way more reps than, you know, players on 1981's team. And I think that matters. I just think the player skill matters. Right now, this is the leader in the clubhouse of the match we're going to watch. I do want to see how LX17 does these days. They've been a successful Osiris League team in the past. One of the most accomplished A seeds in the history of the game. So we're probably going to watch this LX17 match. Well, because, you know, it's a fair fight in terms of power. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. Woody says that JST cut a lot of their ARC team when they downsized. Okay, that's very good info. Very good info. You know, when we do the betting, you know, maybe I'll try to live stream when I do the first week of betting, so you guys can give me a little bit of alpha. You know. I had some sort of alpha that I just like forgot to write down. I mean, Viet Minh is good alpha. The Viet Minh switch is a good alpha because we can fade 2748 at some point, right? You know, Woody, the dirty secret is that you can like the dirty secret is that you can like buy out the shop without ever making any bets, but I know people like betting. So yeah. The thing is, like, last season I did, like, extremely well. Every year I'm like, I don't think I can replicate how I did last year. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see. Alright, that's it for Bastet. Let's see what's going on in Horus. You know what? For the rest of this, I'm just going to look at the schedule. Or I'm going to look at the spectate thing. Let's see if there's any good matches here. Yeah, I mean, these are all close. So these are 3 close matches in Horus we can look at. And then this might be a good match here. La Familia versus K533. A couple of teams that I've at least heard of before. Here's 1260, Kingdom Heart. Interesting that Kingdom Heart actually has like a decent ARC team still. Guys, 1260, we fought these guys in KVK2. We fought these guys in the original KVK2. We were the 5th biggest... we were the 5th biggest KVK at that time, because back then, this was way back in the day. Back then, everybody joined KVK together, because it was like It was just KVK2. Like, there wasn't Season of Conquest yet. It was just the original KVK2. We got put on a map against KDH. They were a Chinese kingdom back then. And the first time I ever saw swarming in Rock was KDH doing it. Full Chinese alliance. Full Chinese alliance. And they were very good. Very, very good. They started swarming rallies. I was like, I didn't know you could swarm a rally. And I think this kingdom died pretty hard after the Chinese server came out, because a lot of their players went to the Chinese server. But pretty amazing that they're still kicking. This kingdom is still kicking all these years later. And pretty good name too. Kingdom Heart, I think it is, right? I think that's like a famous video game. So what do we got? We got 14 minutes. We've got time to play one Champions of Olympia game, so let's go ahead and do that. Oh, we can play ranked. All right. We'll play one ranked Olympia match, and then we'll get this thing going. Minhee, it was great. It was great talking with you. And thanks for keeping us up to date on things in the in-game chat. But yeah, you're always missed in 770, but I certainly understand why you moved on to a more competitive place. And have a good time tonight, Minhee. Thanks again to Big Daddy for the dono earlier. It's very much appreciated. I do enjoy live streaming. I wish I had it. I don't know why I stopped doing it. It's pretty fun. So, as far as the Olympia team goes, see, this is a good-looking team, right? I'm the only person with this leadership set. So basically, all I need to do is travel with any of my teammates, give them some of my buffs, and we'll probably do pretty good. And I can't see the score because my webcam blocks the score, but that's all right. And I can give this buff to like everybody. That's what's also good, right? My Guardian of the Light buff, I can just... Let's see how many Guardian of the Light buffs I can cast in this match. So here we go. Enemy runs into us. We'll just target this guy. And like, look at... I'm giving this buff to like my whole team. Which I'm pretty sure that buff gives us rage. Or no, it gives us morale? I don't even know. I should know, but I think it gives us rage. But look at this. We're just like wrecking them. Look at this. Look at how badly we are wrecking these dudes. My Guardian of the Light is already back up. I can buff somebody else. I'll buff this Achilles. I'm not even looking. There we go. I'll be honest, I played some Call of Dragons over the weekend, and it was like I was fighting in Call of Dragons. And it's so weird to play Rock after you play Call of Dragons. Rock is so much faster. It's so much faster. Like people die so much faster in this game. Like, look, I'm you can tell I'm sleep deprived because like I'm not playing amazing. I am gonna use this buff here because this fight is pretty close. We're really fighting over this caravan here. I'll buff myself with Guardian. Oh, we're going to lose. Okay, we're going to lose this. I mean, we're probably going to lose it. I think I have no chance now. They're going to flip it. Yeah, they flipped it. Looks like we got a pretty close match here, actually. We won the opening... You know what? I'm going to use my silence here, I think. I'm going to use silence here. It's not a bad spot to use it. We're outnumbered here, so maybe I shouldn't go in on this? I don't know. Alright, I think just focusing on this caravan is going to be fine. I think we get here now. Oh, the Alp Arslan is out here. I'm going to move here. I don't know. Oh, I can see the score on my... I know how I can see the score now. I'm a slow learner, guys. I used to, like, never think I could see the score, but literally I can just look on my other screen at OBS, and it's, like, up to date. The trick with this skill that I'm casting, Guidance of the Light, is that basically, once you've buffed all of your marches, you can no longer use the skill. But I've never fully tested... there's a couple things I'm doing horrible here. One, I haven't used my run skill the entire match until now. But I've never tried to see like how many Guardians of the Light I can put on other people before the game doesn't let me put any more on. So wait, no, we're winning. We're winning. Okay, we're winning. I'll buff one of my guys. And I think we get this caravan. I think I get here in time, right? I think? No, no. Oh, let me just disrupt this guy. Yeah, we did a good little disruption value here. That's good. Oh, no, we only disrupted one. Gee. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I think I'm supposed to run. Somewhat close match. So we gotta stay locked in. We can't let them get this. We cannot let them get this one. We have to win this carriage. See, I'm still giving Guidance to the Light to teammates. I've given it to a bunch of teammates now. Dan, you'll have to give me the full... You'll have to give me the Meta Archer lineup. I'm going to make a guide for this soon. So... Dan, you're flagging yourself as being someone I can talk to. Tell me with the info. Oh, now we're losing. You can see the scores are like... The scores swing hard in this event. 1 minute left. I hope we can flip this. I don't know what happened, man. Maybe I'm like playing bad. I'm not sure. I'm trying to wait for my teammates to get here, but... Yeah, we're getting wrecked now. I might have played bad here. Not sure. Not sure. I think like this guy just was so uninvolved. We had one player that was like only involved in like half the kills that everybody else was involved in. Like here, you can almost see it, right? Like everyone's involved in like 15 plus kills, and this guy's only been involved in 11 kills. That's probably the main thing that happened there. I like these guys, though. Evil Clown. Evil, I think you talked earlier and I didn't say hi. Evil, how's it going, man? Welcome to 1770. Glad to have you here. Olympia is, like, honestly not bad. It's honestly not a bad game mode. And you can basically usually complete it in like 20 minutes, right? So the thing about Olympia is, I mean, I just played for 7 minutes and I'm over halfway to doing all these, right? So like potentially you can get all the quests done in 2 matches. So yeah, it takes like 15-20 minutes to get 2 gold heads. I think that everyone in Rise of Kingdoms has like a very warped sense of like time, because let's be real, a ton of people don't play Olympia, even though you're gonna get roughly like 3,000 gems worth of value. I'd say there's about 3,000 gems worth of value on this screen, so you can get 3k gems in 20 minutes, right? But people don't play this game mode. But what do they do? What do people do? People just look around the map a little bit. They look around. They see a level 2 gem deposit. And not only do they send gatherers to it, but they get excited. Like, you see the level 2 gem node and you're like, I'm being productive right now. Like, I'm going and picking up those 20 gems. This is exciting, right? But do you realize that to get 3,000 gems of value, you have to gather, what, 150 of those gem nodes to make up for the value you get from playing Champions of Olympia for 20 minutes. You know, so like, we all just have completely warped sense of values. Another example is me. Like, I gather all day long. You know, I'm always sending gatherers out. But like, honestly, there is no reason why my hospital is full right now. Like, this is still from KVK. We've been out of KVK for like 10 days. And this is still from KVK that I haven't emptied my hospital. Because this is what I do. I heal like for 90 minutes. You know, I'll do like a 90-minute heal, and then I'll like go to sleep. I'll forget that I did a 90-minute heal. The heal will complete, and then I'll go to sleep, and then overnight I'll do no healing at all. So like, that's a huge number of gems. Clown, thank you so much for the dono. Very much appreciated, man, and thank you so much for being in 1770. Yeah, so like basically I do like it's like 12 hours. I lose 12 hours of healing by just like forgetting to start a heal before I go to sleep. And we can assess what 12 hours is worth in gems, right? A 24-hour speed up is 600 gems. So 12 hours is like 300 gems. So pretty much for the last week, every single night, I've been forgetting about 1,200 gems of value before I go to sleep. And yet I'm sending gatherers out multiple times a day, making like 5 gems at a time. It's pretty crazy stuff, man. All right, looks like we've got about a minute before Osiris League kicks off here, right? 15:01, we got 2 minutes. I think I can show you guys. Am I able to show you what I just pulled? I pulled a double inscription earlier. It was a decent one. Not like amazing, but decent. I think I can probably, yeah. Was it this? No. I'll show it to you guys. Wait, where is it? I think it's, yeah, this. I picked up this earlier. So it's in a pretty good slot. It's in a bottom slot. Striker has you deal 1.5% more normal damage, but then Sentries is only for garrisons, right? But for like my Gorgo garrison, this is pretty freaking good. Like, this is pretty good right here for a Gorgo garrison. Not that I use Gorgo garrisons very often, but for a dispatch quest, I thought this was pretty good. All right, so looks like we can probably get into the Osiris League now. Yeah, I'm trying to... Oh, it looks like our match is going to be one of the featured matches later. Interesting. What was I looking for? Oh, Bastet Division 26. Here we go. Yeah, let's see how LX17 does against a younger kingdom with 4 stars that looks like they're Vietnamese. This has the potential to be a good match. We got about 4 minutes though. Guys, throw a like on the stream. That's always helpful. We're kicking off the Osiris League coverage today. We covered a couple good matches earlier, and hopefully we find a good one here as well. If you know of a good match here in this 15 UTC window, do let me know. Right now we're planning to watch LX17 play, but, you know, we're open to other possibilities. I mean, this one could be close. This one could be close. We'll check. Anubis. Div 4. Here's 1606's team. You know, this is another team that... It's really interesting, actually. Like, a lot of the kingdoms that have underachieved in Osiris League over the years have turned out to be the kingdoms that survived, right? Like, there's all these great Osiris League teams, like, you know, 1034 or 1960, whatever it may be, like these really, really good ARC teams. Their kingdoms have died, but some of these teams, like some of these kingdoms, like 1606, that has never done all that well in Osiris League, they're just alive and kicking, you know? $38.42. Is this Ruz's kingdom? 3842, the kingdom that's in like that was in KVK very recently. We might have to take a look at this one too. We might have to look at Crash Out Crew if I'm right about that being a well-known kingdom. Let me check real quick here. Yeah, 3842 is like that very young kingdom that has a lot of veteran players in it. So we might have to take a look at this one as well. Although their opponents don't seem particularly strong with the 0 stars. I kind of want to watch KDH, but I know none of you care. I know none of you care. This one could be a good match as well. I think 2194 is decent. Jungle Warriors, they're a team that we have spectated in the past. Let's see. We're about to be able to get in. Oh, 3842 are in Kingsland right now, so they might not show up. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at that first. Let's, first things first, let's see if 3842 shows up for their match. Looks like they are logging in. But we'll have to see how big of numbers. Oh, it looks like they don't have much of competition today. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna watch this match, guys. All right, let's start with this one. Hopefully this is going to be a good match. It's possible that LX17 will like really overpower their opponents here. You can see that they have 10 stars, but we'll see. So here's LX17 porting in. They're porting in very slowly. Like, they're porting in so slowly that you wonder what the hell's going on, actually. Are they in Kingsland too? Their opponents have almost fully ported in, but only 3 players from LX17 joining this match? There's a fourth. The 3 leaders all porting in. Oh, Dan Kush saying in the chat that 3842 beat. Did they beat the same kingdom, Dan, or was it just the accounts that were the same? Because we lost our last KVK to a kingdom that had 5 Super Cow accounts in it, and apparently 3842 just beat them, which is definitely pretty solid. So you can see that LX17 is doing a very, very disciplined port in here. So this looks like a team. Oh, I still have my webcam up, don't I? Take that off. Yeah, so this is looking like a team that's definitely serious about Osiris League, because this is a very disciplined port in by LX17 here. They're making sure that their players who aren't going to port early on are here in the front. And you can see that they're sporting some very significant power, because some of their players who will be the late teleports are nevertheless people who have over 100 million power. And then here in the back, you have some of their very big players. Here's Shatterstorm, a very old school player. Here's Delphinus, who's been part of this kingdom for a very long time. KSA is a familiar name to me. But also a lot of new blood here in LX17. We had a epic war against these guys a couple years ago, but very few familiar names from that. Atomic Bunny was part of that group way back in the day. Len was part of that group way back in the day. I believe Shibi Mofo is a very old school player, and then Delphinus as well. But this is a kingdom that has reloaded over the years. A pretty whale-heavy kingdom, and those whales attract more whales, and LX17 has been able to maintain a competitive edge for at least about 3 years now in Rise of Kingdoms. So let's see how they open things up here against 3330, I believe. And here we go. Thank you all for tuning in to this 15 UTC Osiris League action. We're watching LX17 try to advance against the Saigon Warriors. Earlier we watched a very close match where the favorites from Kingdom 3777 were a bit disorganized and got upset. What I think we're going to see from LX17 here is we're going to see a well-organized team. Though, to be fair, it's easier to join the match in a certain order than it is to play super coordinated for the subsequent 60 minutes. Joining the match on time at the right time is simply one variable controlled by basically you. In the match itself, you have to deal with many, many variables, and the things that your teammates are doing will totally affect you as well. But both teams rolling out here in a pretty standard format. Red team definitely getting out faster on this top side. One sentry being placed by both teams. Interesting sentry by blue. I kind of like this sentry. What it does is it doesn't give you a view of the fight at the desert altar at all. That's the problem with it. But it does allow you to see who's heading to the outside lane, which is valuable information. I think the problem with a sentry like this is that if the enemy puts a defensive sentry at their own desert altar, then they can pretty easily kill this thing. And then here's a pretty interesting sentry as well. LX-17 definitely putting down sentries that they don't want to get have detected by the enemy team. Energetic being used by 33AO, but not by LX-17. Very interesting. Energetic was meta last season, but as the season went on, meta was getting used less and less. We see a lot of the top teams using stocking up instead of energetic. It will be interesting to see if LX-17 is going to use stocking up here, since that is a skill that requires quite a bit of coordination. Oh, the obelisk gets taken. LX-17 taking the obelisk from red team. There it is. No garrison in there. Len got out fast with his belly JC, and a big, big mistake early on for Saigon Warriors. This is not, this is not a good sign for this match being close. For the red team to not only lose their obelisk, but to lose it in sloppy fashion where they just had no one even in the obelisk. Now, you think to yourself, oh, this is not a big deal because they got it right back. The problem is this slows down the teleports. The teleports to this side are not going to be generated for 3 minutes, whereas the teleports here are going to be generated in 30 seconds. So that's the first problem. Look at this. They cancel the rally. There wasn't many in this rally. Actually, there were 4 people in this rally. Interesting that they canceled it. Interesting that they canceled it here. I'm not convinced there's a ton of people in this obelisk. But yeah, basically the blue team now is going to be able to teleport everyone in very quickly, whereas the red team can only teleport in half their team. So a huge advantage for blue here early on. I'm going to start a poll in the chat. It's kind of, I'm going to give you guys a layup here. I'm going to say, will LX-17 win this match? You can vote yes or no. The match has already started. The match has literally already started. So, you know. This one ain't too hard, but let's see what happens. All right, so both teams picking up their own buildings, except here at the desert altar. This bottom side has already had a bunch of trouble for red. You can see the damage being done by the red team not having teleports. All these marches that are sad facing, in a normal world, many of them would sad face back to this obelisk, and they'd be able to at least get back here to potentially recapture this desert altar in the next 2 minutes so that they can get the first capture. But as played, all of LX-17's bottom side field presence is at this building, and they are just absolutely rinsing them. Let's see what's happening up top here. You can see LX17 does look stronger in this lane as well. We're going to stick with this match through the first arc, but it's looking a bit to me like LX17 is way stronger than their opponents here. Let's see how they played. Let's see. And there's the stocking up from LX17. So we are getting some good scouting reports in this match for betting on the Osiris League. I think what we see from LX17 is that they are a team that is well coordinated and they are confident enough to be using stocking up. So what stocking up does as a skill is that basically as your gatherers, you can see this gatherer here, for example, is walking back already. As they return their resources, you get extra skill points on your bar as a result of stocking up. Now, at this moment, LX17 has a pretty full bar. So I think the smart thing would be for these gatherers to wait and not return until not return their resources until it's much closer to the mid spawning, because that's when you want the points from stocking up. You want those gatherers to return and give you the extra skill points after you've casted a few skills, because then that allows you to cast more than 10 points worth of skills at a mid fight. This is the advantage that the top teams in Arc give themselves. And it's almost like overkill, because you have to be coordinated enough to use stocking up correctly. If you're coordinated enough, you're probably the better team anyway, but that coordination gives you extra skill points mid, and it just makes you so much stronger than the teams who don't use stocking up. Sorry about that. I was just... All right, so our first arc spawning in 3.5 minutes. No mark being cast by 33 AO. And honestly, this is a very bad time to be casting no mark. They have none of their own buildings. Now, no mark does reduce the capture time on a building. It goes from 3 minutes to 2 minutes. So if red team takes back a lot of their buildings at this moment, which it does seem like they're doing, then this no mark isn't terrible, because they're getting some value from no mark by taking their own buildings back. But this is not the way you want to be using your first no mark if your goal is to win the match, right? Because all you're doing is taking back your own buildings. And the other thing that using no mark does very early in the match is it blows 6 skill points for the first mid. And in comparison, LX17 has A, cast stocking up, and B, they have used no other skills. So basically what we have right now is the skill bar for red team is at about 3 or 4 points, whereas the skill bar for LX17 is theoretically at about 12 points. So the team in red can use about 3 or 4 points for this mid fight, whereas the team in blue is going to be able to use, I'd say, maybe 10 or 11 points for this mid. So it's just a monster advantage for the blue team. And you can see that the blue team is leveraging that advantage by basically not even sending everyone to mid. this inside lane on the top side has decided that they are probably not going to go mid. They're just going to clear the field and I guess wait for a rally to come out. I would imagine. I imagine we're going to see a rally here. Well, Shatterstorm is rallying one of the two buildings anyway. So Dust Up cast for LX17. Arc spawning in 1 minute. Numbers-wise, it's looking pretty even. It's looking pretty even numbers-wise. Blue is going to be getting there in about 30 seconds or so. Red is pretty much there already. These marches are going to be late. I don't think these marches can get to mid on time. You can see they're all about like a minute away from wherever they're walking. Nobody killing the sentry either. You got to kill the sentry. Oh, wait, they can't see it. Never mind. So here we go. Mid-fight kicking off. Red charging into blue here. Feeling like they have a slight numbers advantage. Timely support getting used by red, but then to the death from blue. This is a well-timed to the death. The fight is fully underway. Red cannot run away from this. And you know, this to the death is being cast on a group of blue marches that are all hitting. This Scipio is going to get melted so fast. That Scipio, yeah, that Scipio is in a deep, deep trouble, getting completely surrounded by a team buffed by to the death. And just like that, and I bet what we're seeing now are gatherers coming in, right? Yep, we're seeing gatherers come in now. So what LX17 has done is they have used their skill points. They used Dust Up into the Death. That's 8 points. And now they're going to very quickly refresh their skill points by having some of these gatherers come in as a result of stocking up. So just a clean start to this match by LX17. They've done a number of things very, very well. They flipped the enemy obelisk and disrupted their teleports. They then used stocking up and went to mid in significant numbers, but not crazy numbers. They did not have everyone going mid. They've already flipped the Shrine of Life on the bottom side. They take the Arc, and they've already got a bunch of skill points where they will likely cast no mark pretty quickly here. And LX17 in very good control of this match. I'm going to quickly look at some of the other matches, see if we can get something a little bit closer. I do think LX17 is just on their way to winning that match pretty comfortably. Well, I kind of want to watch. I forget which one it was, but where was that La Familia? Oh, here it is. Oh, this is a blowout. Okay. Am I crazy, or had I just found a close match and now I lost it? .903T winning easily. 69 Lovers winning easily. Oh boy, now we're in a weird spot where we don't know any matches are close. Those matches aren't close. Let's take a look at Crash Out Crew here quickly. Who's got the arc? Okay, so here we got to listen. 3842. Another very well-known young kingdom. Also in a bit of trouble here. A bit of trouble here against Bamboo Shoot Village. They are winning the ratio game early on. Bamboo Shoot Village has already started healing. But from a points perspective, the red team does have the slight edge. They're holding the arc. So they've got about a 1,000 point lead here. Both teams hold their own buildings. And the Anubis monster has spawned. Red team getting to this monster right on time. Here comes blue. I think blue can get here before red kills this thing. Red only showed up with about 8 marches. So it's going to take that. Well, maybe there's, yeah, about 8 marches here hitting it. Blue's going to get here in time. Blue's going to get here to disrupt this monster. You can see it's only at 83%. It's going down slowly enough that blue team can get here. But they've got to get on their giddy up here. They got to get here quickly. But this is the kind of crazy stuff that happens at these monster fights. One team got here first, thought they could clear it, but now the other team shows up, and so what do? Do you try to finish off this monster, or do you turn and fight the enemy? I got to tell you guys, in this situation, you turn and fight the enemy. There's no reason to kill this monster. The team that last hits the monster is the team that gets the buff. So I really disagree with the people swarming. I really do, because when this thing has 5% left, all these blue marches can just start swarming it then. Let's see what happens. This Anubis is going down fast with both teams hitting it. Down to 10% now. Both teams trying to hit this thing. And let's see if we can figure out which team wins the buff. Iset won. Yeah, so I think it was Iset that won that one. I think Iset is blue. So I do think blue stole. I'm pretty sure blue stole the monster down here. Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like blue stole this one. And then the arc gets returned. The arc gets returned by red team. So they do have the 1,500 point lead. A bunch of buildings being flipped. Both teams flipping multiple buildings. Literally, the enemy team controls both altars of their opponent. You don't see this every day. All 4 altars in control of the enemy right now. And with 7 minutes to go before the next arc, the priority for both teams is going to be to stabilize these lanes. Let's just zoom out and think about, like, what are these teams doing right now to get their buildings back? I mean, they're just sending to it. They're just all sending to these buildings. You know, no rally on this sky altar. It's just getting swarmed down, which, you know, this is fine. The timing here is okay, but also a little awkward, right? Because some of these marches that have swarmed down to half health, like, what are they going to do now? They can't really refresh and then go back out, I don't think. Like, demigods here, like, this is, you know, these are the choices that individual players make that makes the leadership of the team either look good or bad. If I'm demigods, I am just heading forward with most of these marches. I thought he had one that was low. Hard Cucumber needs to refresh. What Hard Cucumber can do here is take a minute to refresh, and then you've got 5 minutes to do something. That's an awkward timing. That's an awkward timing. And so that's why I think this player Demigods did make the right choice to just fight, like, just kill off your marches, right? You want to stay in the field for as long as you can. You don't want to die stupidly, but you want to get value for these marches. Look at this. He's just going to sad face though. Like, why would you have 6 minutes to go before the next mid fight, right? So like, why not come down here and help your team win this fight? Because some of these marches are going to win this fight and then go mid with whatever they have left. So again, this is just a very poor play by this person. I thought they were making a good play by coming down here to engage in this fight at the Shrine of Life, but ultimately they are just sad facing, and you could have done more with these marches. Like, even if you walk over here and we soften up some of these enemy marches, that's still better than whatever they have planned, unless of course this obelisk is empty. Now, these marches here, I do think they need to sad face. They didn't get the building. Very ineffective for 3842. We have to call it like we see it here. I mean, in a way, these marches, like, they beat themselves. Like, they essentially beat themselves in this fight because they won the fight, which means that their marches stay alive. They didn't take the building, which... The building is full, to be fair. It's a fully garrisoned building. But like, and like, look what these marches are doing now. There's 4.5 minutes before arc, and they're literally taking their sweet time dying off. Like, they're dying off as slowly as they possibly can. And this is going to screw up their mid timing. This is 100% going to screw up their mid timing. So, you know, I'm going to turn down this, I turned down my mic a little bit because it looked like I was, a little too far on the red, but guys, I get intense about this because this right here is a prime example of how you can play Arc better. This blue team lane really played this poorly. They should have just swarmed the structure. Like, what you do is you win the fight here and then you swarm the structure. And if you die, that's fine. If you die, then you have plenty of time to get to mid. But as is, they've just kind of... The one thing they've done well is they died off fast enough to get to mid. They died off fast enough to get to mid, and they were a little tiny bit... Look at the Ramses. Holy. What are we seeing? Ramses? Why are we seeing Ramses, guys? Why are we seeing Ramses? I haven't seen a Ramses march in years. Why would a player from a young kingdom build Ramses? This is crazy. Holy. Ramses sighting in 2026. There are probably tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Rock players who do not realize that at one point in this game, Ramses YSG was the best march in the game. When Ramses came out, he was a very dominant commander. And I will also say that for me, Ramses' art style and the fact that he was this like... he was this African commander. It just sort of expanded the world. It expanded the world of where they were going to source commanders from. And I just thought Ramses was a hell of a release in terms of just like the art style and the and I don't know, just like it made me like realize the potential this game had when Ramses came out, because he looked super cool. And he was from a military background that was different than the other command. But here we go. Very close game. About an 1,800 point lead for red team. This second mid fight is going to be huge. Blue team using teardown just a few minutes ago. So I guess they're feeling confident about their the amount of skills they have for the second mid. Neither team has used no mark. Both teams using hard push. I gotta tell you guys, I am an official Osiris League commentator who also arc leads my own team, and I'm starting to wonder if hard push is more meta than I realized. I've seen a lot of teams using hard push. I can't remember if hard push was always 2 points or if that is a change to arc. Maybe I need to find that one out, because interesting to see how much hard push is getting used. So here we go. Arc spawning in 1 minute. Red team has vision. You can see that red team has vision. They know what kind of numbers 3842 has at the temple. And so red team is pushing in. They are forcing the issue here against the blue team. The favored and better known blue team. Red team forcing the issue here. And you can see that it's going to be very, very effective for them. Blue team, you know, they probably should have balled up a little bit farther back, because they have essentially lost this mid fight before their entire team even got here. Very few skills being cast. Sneaky tactics getting used by the red team, and then teardown being used again by blue, almost as if blue has given up on this mid fight. Teardown is a building skill, an occupation skill. And blue team, Crash Out crew, looking like they are in deep, deep trouble here. I'm going to close the poll because we're not even watching that match anymore. But looks like most of you voted for LX17 to win. I think you're probably going to be right. I won't put up a poll for this match, but who do you guys think is going to win? I mean, Crash Out crew, they're looking like they're in some real trouble here. The Arc is once again safely in red team's hands. There will be a third Arc in this match, so you know, we have to remember that. The other thing we have to factor in is that we see that. Oh, I was a little bit off here. I was a little bit off with the skills. Sorry about that. It looks like all that got used mid was to the death. It was just to the death for red team that got used mid. And then blue team using no mark. So the one thing that blue team potentially has going for it here is that they potentially have 2 no marks in this match. We see that they have 1 skill left, and that can potentially be time warp, which would allow them to reset no mark. The red team has 1 skill left, so they have at most they have 1 no mark in their back pocket. So that is a slight points edge for 3842, but that's the only edge that they have in this match, because you can see that not only did red team win the mid, but they also took a bunch of buildings from the blue team. And look at this, the ratio. Crash Out crew has the ratio advantage, but they're losing the match. They are losing the match here. And, you know, as we go into the second half of this match, let's try to look at what the red team is doing effectively on the sides to flip so many of these buildings. Crash Out crew now gets all their buildings back. The points per minute is pretty close. But it's going to be almost a 6,000 point lead right now. It's almost a 6,000 point lead for Bamboo Shoot after this arc gets returned. If I'm Bamboo Shoot, I'm holding this arc. I'm max holding this arc to guarantee that this is a 3 arc game. Evil Clown's calling it. He's saying it's an easy win for 13. And it is sort of looking that way. It is sort of looking that way. Blue teams will have to win the third arc and also outscore red team pretty significantly on the sides, which they have been unable to do up to this point in the match. Now, a good attack here by blue team, but I think, you know, I think we see what the biggest issue is here is that blue team just doesn't have well-timed rallies. Their rallies are just not being well-timed with these open field pushes. Yeah, I mean, they've got 2 rallies marching right now. I'm assuming this is going to be on like the top side, maybe. Yeah. So this is interesting, right? Like, this rally has like no open field support. This rally has, you know, this is a well-timed attack here, but this is going to be tough. Over here, if they had a rally, they pretty much always take this building. They pretty much always take the building here, but they have no rally. Like, they have literally no rally. And even in this lane as well, if you have a rally coming soon, you can potentially take this one. And they're casting teardown. They're using teardown over and over again to get value on these attacks. And you can see that here in this lane, this is a very, very good attack by the blue team here. I mean, other than the fact that it looks like it's a QSH rally. Let's see here. I can't even tell what rally it was. Oh, here it is. Yeah, QSH ZL rally. So listen, for a team that maybe doesn't have all the meta rally commanders yet, and maybe not meta garrisons either, 3842, they're hanging in there all right. But they definitely need more of this. They definitely need more of this. They're down about 2,000 points. They are winning in occupation right now, though. And then, obviously, the arc is being held by 13. So, this match is getting spicier as it goes along. Florty in the chat. Florty, yep. It was, you know, shout out to you guys in 377. Arc is, you know, I've talked about it on this stream a bit. You know, the experience you gain from playing Arc for many years is very important, and it is very valuable. And, you know, we're seeing a couple of these young kingdoms struggle so far today. And I think it's just a testament to the fact that, you know, Arc is a very fun thing to do with a group of friends every 2 weeks. And there are just a lot of kingdoms in this game who have stuck together for many years, and they play Arc every 2 weeks. They may not win all the time, but they're getting those reps of playing together as a team. That really does help. And so we're seeing some teams that we haven't heard of before have good enough coordination to outplay some well-known younger kingdoms. Because if I'm not wrong, Bamboo Shoot Village doesn't have any stars. Yeah, no stars for this kingdom. And, you know, listen, blue team is starting to lean on them a little bit. But, like, look at what's happening in the back line here, right? Like, yeah, look at this. These are empty outposts that a march with 4K troops is flipping these. A march with literally 4K troops flipped both of these outposts because there was no one in them. Like, no garrison in either of those outposts. And looks like this one got flipped earlier too. Yeah, all 3 of these outposts were empty. All 3 were empty. And so this player, look at this guy. He's just doing a do-si-do here, going from one outpost to another, flipping these things. This is a huge play by this march to just like massively disrupt the points of the blue team. And how do you counter this? You put a garrison in these outposts. You put a garrison in all the outposts. But blue still holding on to this desert altar. They've held on to the desert altar for a long time. You know, it's not as if red team is like this machine either. They're not exactly a well-oiled machine either. I don't know if they've had a rally on this building. They did just rally it with an Attila Subutai. That rally was swarmed down, so I mean, they've got the right idea here, launching these rallies, but it's taken them quite a long time to take back this Desert Altar. Very good, a very good defense here at the Desert Altar by the blue team. They had to have this. These are the kind of moves that Crash Out Crew had to have in order to get back into this match. The Ark does get returned. I think we missed the monster, by the way. We just missed the monster. We see that the red team got the monster on the bottom side. And then, so yeah, red team gets both monsters. Looks like both monsters were relatively competitive. We're seeing sad faces just go disappearing now. They were so happy with how things went down here that they give each other the thumbs up. So red team taking both monsters. So they're going to get 50% points boost for 4 minutes, and they're going to get a march speed boost. So this is a power moment here for the red team. And at this point, they have taken back all their buildings, and they're taking enemy buildings. A few minutes ago, blue was winning the occupation game. Now it's red winning the occupation game in a very big way. And they have massive, massive presence at this Desert Altar. Ark was returned, and I've got to say, I like this timing. I really like this timing on the Ark return. Think about the value that these red marches here are going to get. Now remember, Ark is spawning in 7 minutes, right? So these marches have two options. They either die really fast and then fight on the outside in the lanes again, or they take it really slow. They can take this moment very, very slow. If I were running things here, I would have my team camping at the building. They're choosing to engage the enemy when the enemy is very outnumbered. This is probably better, honestly. This is actually better what they're doing, because they're going to wreck these 4 marches and then they're going to wreck these 3 marches. So this is really good value that they're getting from the red team here. And I mean, this is what's going to happen, right? These red marches are going to fight for about 4 minutes. They're going to accomplish objectives of taking this building. They're going to accomplish objectives of keeping the enemy totally off this building. Here's the Gorgo garrison. The Gorgo garrison that's trying to get to this building is nowhere close to it. So these red marches are just going to get huge, huge value for 3 minutes. Then they're going to sad face, and then they're going to go to middle on time. Like it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing that was brought on by a number of factors. Number one, they got the march speed boost from the monster to get to this fight a little bit faster. The Ark then got returned at a great time, and now they're just staying together as a group. So here's the thing, right? I was saying that it was kind of good that they engaged this outnumbered crew, but imagine if they had camped the building. If they had camped the building, they'd still be alive, and so their timing would be good. As is, the timing's not great, guys. The timing is not great on these sad faces. You know what I mean? Because they're going to get back to their city with 4.5 minutes before the next Ark. And then the question is, what do you do? With 4.5 minutes before the next Ark, do you send your marches back to this Desert Altar, or do you just go to mid early? I think you go to mid early. We're seeing red go to mid early from the bottom side as well. But yeah, listen, man, it's a game of decisions. It's a game of decisions. If red team makes the decision to camp this building, I think it works out a little bit better for them. Not a huge difference, but it works out a little bit better for them. And over the course of a match, you just have tons of players on both teams making a bunch of decisions that are at that level of like, it's important, but not super important. But when you tack one semi-important decision on top of another semi-important decision, on top of another semi-important decision, it adds up really, really quick. And the team that has players making better decisions along the way is generally the team that wins. Every once in a while, the skills that get cast and the overall macro calls that get made by an Ark lead, they can swing a match. They definitely can swing a match some of the time. But just as often, if not more often, it's the individual players making good decisions along the way that decide the outcome of this. Carr, how's it going? Good to have you here. So here's the situation in this match. Crash Out Crew needs this second arc for sure, and they probably need a fourth arc. They probably need a fourth arc. But the question is, can they win this second arc? 3 minutes left, so these red marches will get here in time. It looks like blue is going to try and do... Well, one thing to point out here is that we've seen this outside lane have trouble a few times now. They were late to the last arc, if I'm not mistaken, and they're going to be late to this next arc too. Let's see who else is out of position. A lot of players out of position on the outside lane. It looks like Crash Out Crew is trying to do a lot right now. Looks like they're trying to take buildings and win the second mid. I'm fine with that. I am fine with that decision. They have to take aggressive risks. Great to see a bunch of people in the chat who know each other. Carr, from the Whale Kingdoms, saying hi to some of my alliance mates, Evil Clown and Dan Kush. Always nice to see, YouTube chatters reuniting in my channel. Thank you all for being here. Let's see if Crash Out Crew can pull the upset here. Look at this, Crash Out Crew going in. They feel like they have A, a numbers advantage, and B, everyone's here. Like, no one else is really coming, so they're just going to go in now. I do like this push by blue team. I like this push by blue team. They use war drums. Red team using more skills, war drums and dust up. The one issue with blue's skill bar is they don't have a lot of mid skills. They don't even have dust up. Like, they don't even have dust up on blue team. You wonder what this last skill is. If it was to the death, I think they probably would have cast it already. It's probably going to be time warp. But here we go. Very close mid fight. Blue engaged. Red has the skills advantage. It's 5 points being used by red, 3 points being used by blue. A pretty close fight here. Arc spawning in 40. I think it's whatever team wins this fight is going to take the arc. The pull is not going to be super important because I think in 30 seconds, the winning side is going to already be determined here. There's energetic from 3842. Interesting skill cast. They're not going to get a ton of value from it here unless they cast one more skill. But what would they cast at this point? You know what I mean? Yeah, blue's applying the pressure here. Now the sad face train is coming out. Crash Out Crew staying alive in this match. Yeah, and you can see we saw these players on the outside lane earlier. They did take the Sky Altar. So Crash Out Crew taking some of the steps they need to get back into this match. Winning the third arc after losing the first two. You know, I think it was... Red team was just interesting there, where they got to mid early, but then they stopped sending people mid. I think it was probably a miscalculation by Red to not try harder for that mid. I think they could have won it if they full send mid, because blue definitely did not full send mid. But it was a great attack by blue, realizing that they had a slight numbers advantage and realizing that their situation was not going to get any better. So we got a game on our hands here. And again, let's zoom out and look at the situation on the map. Red team with a slight occupation advantage by virtue of holding the enemy desert altar, but that's going to go down soon. And one thing we have seen that you won't see from better teams is they have not been able to get a garrison into this desert altar, right? It's been an archer rally. And I think the best role for the new archer garrison Hayam in Osiris League is that what Hayam can do is you can run something like a Hayam CY garrison, and you can put it into the archer rally and then swap to the Hayam once you take the building. So to the extent that archer rallies will get used in Osiris League, I think they're only good if you have a archer garrison inside that rally. Now, the other issue here is going to be, can they return this arc fast enough? They're 40 seconds away. So if we assume this player returns the arc cleanly, which is a question, he's probably going to return this cleanly. They're going to have about 2 minutes to return a fourth arc. Now, the thing is that fourth arc is going to be worth 4,500 points. So if the blue team can return this arc and the next arc, that would give them the lead in the match, because they're down 7,000 points, but the next two arcs are worth a total of 8,500 points. So if you're blue team, I think that you just start thinking about the fact that we have to win the next arc, right? You can't lose any buildings in the next 8 minutes. But then if you win the next arc, you have a chance. You have a chance. If you're the red team, I'm thinking about going all in arc as well. Like, if I'm red team, I am 100% going all in arc, and I am just trying to make sure that the enemy team cannot return the arc quickly, because it's not that hard to slow the enemy down from returning the arc within 2 minutes. It's really not that hard at all. And we do have an obelisk flip, but, well, this could be spicy here at the obelisk, because this was a pretty full rally that has 1 million left. There's 1 million left in this rally. Now, I don't know that an obelisk flip at this point is all that big of a deal. There's no cities left in the start zone. And there's the time warp. There's a time warp from 3842. There's the no mark. So a points advantage, a substantial points advantage right now for Crash Out Crew. We talked about this earlier, that the one advantage they have is they probably have a double no mark. Yeah, Dan, you know, my man Dan Kush, he's usually very, very informed. But Dan, I don't know why you think 49 is dead, man. Because they only lost one group. They only lost one group. The core of that kingdom seems to be fully intact. Yeah, I agree with Carr. I think 49... I think the bigger threat to 49 are the piloting changes. More so than losing the group that they lost. Now, obviously the group they lost with players like Al Haytham and Toxic in there, and many other great players, obviously the group they lost is a very big deal, but I don't think it's the core of their kingdom. And that core has rebuilt before, and they can rebuild again. So... No, and Dan, I don't think they're on the OL team, because they were 1960 players last season, you know? I think that if the accounts that Arvix owns can still be played by other people, that 49 will be fine. I think that if Arvix has to run all his own accounts, then I think 49 might be in trouble. And so the future of 49 is sort of like the question every kingdom in the game is asking, right? Because it's like, how are the piloting rules going to be enforced? You know, how many trusted devices are going to be allowed on each account? Oh, Car, did I say something different? I just thought people like El Hytham were on 960's OL team last time. All right, so 4 minutes before Arc, let's think about how things are looking here. Now, monster is spawning, so the third monster gives you 2 extra skill points. So this is big. Well, it would be big if these teams had combat skills for mid. This is big for red team mainly, right? And look at this, blue trying to steal this Anubis at the last second. Last hit gets it. It looks like red got it. It looks like red, yep, red pulls that off. So red gets 2 extra skill points from there. Now down here, it looks like red's also going to win this one, right? So they've denied the buffs. They have denied the buffs from Crash Out Crew twice now. And with 3.5 minutes to go before Arc, the red team has a 20% march speed boost, and blue team does not. Red team also got 2 extra skill points, which may be useful for them because they have 8 points, or they have 8 points that they can cast mid. The issue, I really do not like blue team's skill bar. I honestly don't know how blue team came up with this skill bar. Like, I don't mean to be too harsh here. But I'm going to be honest and say that this is a terrible skill bar for blue. Like, this is a genuinely terrible skill bar where literally you only have 1 skill that you can cast mid. Having hard push and tear down as occupation skills is way overkill. It's massive overkill for them to have those 2 skills. Now, I think what they're trying to do is have this like crazy points generation where they use energetic whenever it's off cooldown, and then they cast skills like hard push and tear down, which gives them points back very quickly. And then that helps the economy for using no mark twice in the match. I sort of get their idea here, but I mean, I just think you have to give yourself more mid skills than just 1. Like, there's a reason the top teams in this game have tons of mid skills. It's because you need to win mid. Oh, Carr is correcting me that many of people from GT broke into 89's main team for just, I guess, for the Grand Prix last year. Carr, is that what you're saying? That GT got into 89's team for the Grand Prix? But, yeah. Evil Klein saying that 4 devices are going to be allowed for each account. Wow. That's a lot. So it's a 1,000 point lead in the match. Occupation score, Crash Out Crew does have the occupation advantage as by virtue of their no mark. We're seeing how powerful no mark is and how I mean, at the end of the day, I hate both of these bars. I honestly hate both of these skill bars because one team has no mid skills. The team in blue has no mid skills and the team in red has no mark. So like literally both of these skill bars are like really, really bad to me. Because if Bamboo Shoot has no mark and time warp, then they're probably so far ahead in the match right now that it doesn't even matter. But as it is, I mean, look at this. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Arc's going to spawn in 30 seconds. Blue team isn't even stopping red team from taking the Arc. So blue team... Yeah, so this player here is starting to think about how do we ambush this arc? Because you don't want red team to return the arc either. I mean, if red team returns the arc, they just win. Now, let's see what is blue team getting for their decision to not go mid. They're potentially getting the Shrine of Life, which is big. It's a big flip. Now, no rally here on the building, so it's going to cost them a fair bit to swarm down the Gorgo Hector here. There's the arc capture. It's a belly. It looks like it's probably like a T4 or T5 belly. Doesn't look like T1. And you can see right now he's just making a beeline for the outpost of Seth. And no one's going to get... Well, boy, Crash Out Crew really playing it close. They've got the enemy Shrine of Life. They're trying to swarm down the enemy Desert Altar. They've also taken... They briefly flipped the Sky Altar. So Crash Out Crew trying to catch back up with Occupation. And they might do it. I mean, oh, they're just going to come up short on Occupation. They're going to come up just short on Occupation. But they probably do ambush this arc to where it can't return the arc. He's trying to juke them. The belly is trying to juke these guys. It's kind of working. It's kind of working. This belly, he's got the jukes, but he's not going to get home in time. He's got the jukes, but he won't get home in time. So the arc is null. It's all about the gathering and the occupation. 800-point lead for red team. I don't see many gatherers. I don't see many gatherers for blue. And there it is. Looks like Bamboo Shoot Village pulls the upset. Kobe from deep gets the MVP, but in a losing fashion. Very un-Kobe-like to play great, but lose. Kingdom 32-13 pulls the upset over Crash Out Crew. They lost the ratio game. They lost the occupation game, but they won. And their Arc of Osiris score is crazy. I don't even know how you get 7,825 points for Arc. I actually don't even know how that works. How do you get such a weird score for Arc? I guess this is the Anubis buff? Maybe this is the Anubis buff or something? Must be. It must be the Anubis buff, right? Is giving you... I guess the Anubis buff gives you extra points when you return the Arc as well. And then the red team also healed a lot, but getting great value for the heal as they advance in the Osiris League with a very close but rather impressive win here for 3-13. Oh, there's your webcam error. I don't know why I took the webcam off. At some point in the match I forgot that I could just look at my other screen to see the score. But yeah, Evil Clown, it was definitely closer than I thought as well. But there you go. A win for 32-13. I guess we can look very quickly at the recommended results here. Yeah, not too many close matches. It looks like we stumbled upon the closer matches of the day. It's taken a while for some of these other realms to populate. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, so these were all blowouts. These were all complete blowouts here in Anubis. And yeah, mostly blowouts, but I'm glad I was able to show you guys a couple of good matches for sure. Yeah, some pretty good matches for the round of 64. You don't usually always get some close ones, but we got a few close ones today. So, I think that's going to be it for the stream. I'm actually starting to feel very tired. I have an ARC match in 2.5 hours. Thankfully, I already did the the strategy and stuff and messaged everybody. You know what I'll do before I log off and maybe take a nap? I will at least set up my marches. I will set up my marches. Yeah, glad we got some decent viewership for Osiris League this week. That was cool. It's it really is a privilege to have a YouTube channel that people watch. You know, I know I'm not the you know, I'm far from the biggest YouTuber. I'm far from the smartest YouTuber as far as how to grow my channel, but at the end of the day, there are many, many streamers out there who are, you know, who just struggle to get even more than a couple viewers. So I do always very much appreciate the fact that everyone is enjoying my content, hanging out, participating in the chat. All that makes things more fun. Yeah, I just always really appreciate all the supporters out there. Even if the only support you're showing me is watching the stream, that's still very supportive, and I'm just yeah, really grateful to be able to you know, talk to other people as I play Rise of Kingdoms. Sometimes, you know, I'm a big time loner in my life, so yeah, having people to having a community here with the YouTube channel is really cool. Taking a nap, 2 hours to go with Osiris is a dangerous game. I agree, but you know, honestly, Clown, I'm a huge degenerate in my life, and I screw up like tons and tons of things. But I can honestly say that I have never, as an adult, I don't think I have ever slept through an alarm for anything. Like, there's never been a time in my adult life where it was like, what went wrong? Oh, I slept through my alarm. Like, I don't think it's ever actually happened. All right, so this merge is coming back soon, but you know, basically, I'll show you guys my like prep for ARC, right? So I basically just like I start with Cav because I sort of know what my Cav is going to be. Oh, I gotta wait for no, I can do it. Yeah. So I just like start with my main march and go from there, right? So I know that Attila is going to have my best gear. I know Attila is going to have my best Delta set. By the way, like, how good is my Delta set, guys? Like, this is, I think this is like super good. I somehow ended up with like a very, very, very good Delta set here. Because like the rolls, when you add in this 3.7% damage to the rolls, I all of a sudden have 4 special inscriptions and some like very respectable rolls. Universal, thank you. Yes, I have done good at betting in the past for sure. And we're getting some pretty good alpha early on in this Osiris League season, so hopefully it'll be another good year of betting. All right, so the Attila gets the first gear. Sorry, guys, my mustache is like tickling me. I shaved earlier, but I kept the mustache, and it's like tickling me. Oh. So Eleanor gets the second set. And she's already... Yeah, actually, I don't think she had the right... Yeah, she did have the right set on. Okay, so Eleanor gets the second set. Third Cav set, I'm going to give to... I'll give the third set to Jan. Because Jan will go in an outpost. I mean, I'm giving the most modest of info to our opponents at this point. But I don't think it's a big deal. And then the fourth set. I guess I should go on the Achilles. I guess is Achilles a better primary than Arthur? If the march I'm running is Achilles Arthur, is Achilles the better primary? I guess maybe so. So we give him Delta 2. So then we've got the 4 cav marches set up. Next we do infantry. We give the best gear to Gorgo. And she's got my arch set. Then we give the second best gear to Sun Tzu. And he's got my pincer set. My pincer set is pretty good. Pretty good pincer set as well. Dan Kush saying that my set is car level. I like it, man. I like it. I mean, listen, dude. It hasn't always felt like a good decision to lean fully into one set. But now that I've got it, I feel very good. Now that calves are meta, I feel very good about it, right? Because, like, in the KVKs where I do spend on Crystal Tech, I've got a pretty darn meta set. I've got a pretty darn meta set at this point. All right, so, we put the infantry gear on those two. QSH already has his stuff. Let's put, my double C always gets messed up with the triple line. I always lose the triple line. Here we go. Yeah, I don't mess around. You've got 2 doubles and 7.4% all damage. Okay. So yeah, that's the thing, right? It's like, as much as I do like my set, like Carr just put like 10% of stats better than me. Just like that, right? So he's got double the AD, so he's got 3.7% more all AD, so that's like 7.5%. And then he's got 2 regular inscriptions that I don't have, so that's probably, let's call that like an average of 2.5% of stats. So Carr's, as good as my set is, Carr's set is like 12.5% of stats more than mine, right? But listen, for a low spender, for someone who has literally spent less than $20,000 in my life in this game, I got a pretty good set. And I'll say this, right? I'll show you guys. Oh no, we left KVK. I can't show you it anymore. Basically, in our last KVK, my armaments were like 96th percentile, and my gear was like 88th percentile. And I've like never really spent any money on armaments, so like, for me to be 96th percentile in armaments in like a whale KVK, it means that basically I've made good decisions with my armaments over the years. And it indicates that it's kind of a skill game, like theory crafting your armaments and picking like, you know, what am I going to open? What am I going to use my transmutation stones on? You know, what am I going to convert? Those are all like skill-based decisions. And I think the big one are the transmutation stones, right? Like figuring out what to roll, figuring out what to lock. Like those were all, I've seen people make mistakes on those things, right? And I guess I made good decisions because my armaments are like way ahead of my equipment. But anyway, so yeah, anyway, let me finish setting up my marches, right? So basically what I do is I just put the gear on the marches first, and then I rebuild all my presets. Because if you don't rebuild the presets, things can get messed up, right? If you make like a change to the gear, your presets can get a little bit messed up. So, you know what? I can use the boost right now. I can use the boost right now because my match is in less than 4 hours. All right, so yeah, so Attila David's going to be number 1, preset number 1. You can see that my Eleanor is already preset number 2. And yeah, it looks like nothing changed here. I know my QSH is fine, but we're just gonna redo this preset again anyway. Now, so the reason I redo the marches, and I'll show you guys it right here, right, is that I think I moved a couple things around. I think I changed this gear set like a little bit. So like, this is what the Gorgo has on now, right? But my Gorgo is already preset. Oh, maybe it is the same. Never mind. Never mind. And I guess the Sun Tzu's as it should be too. Anyway. Did we just use a skill? Oh, we just used fully loaded? We're only going to... CK, we're only going to get 4 hours out of that because we're going to use Unbridled Progress soon. You've got Fine Horse and Enduring? Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, okay, so these are, yeah, so my, all right, so then I need to, because sometimes, the thing is, sometimes I have like 4 cav marches out. So basically I just like send my other troops home and then I set up my other cav marches. Because I've got Achilles. So Arthur has to be primary. Okay, Arthur has to be primary. Okay. I get confused because like Rexine was saying that when you run Joan Arthur, you should put Arthur first, right? I mean, Arthur can be secondary with Huo, so I figured maybe he could be secondary with Achilles. Alright, so then we set up the Arthur Achilles. I guess I can use T5 here, I guess. Put him here. Here's me giving away a little bit of info to Oh, I put the wrong gear on Arthur. Put the wrong gear on Arthur. I'm not going to say what it is, but yeah. All right. So yeah, here's Arthur Achilles. Unfortunately with blue gear. We've got all those. I assume this Attila Subutai is gonna be fine too. There's the Attila Subutai. And yeah, we're all set. We are all set for Arc. But listen, everybody, I thank everybody for hanging out. Hopefully I won't do this too often because I'll be casting on the official channel instead. But yeah, it was fun casting a couple of Osiris League matches. If you haven't played yet, best of luck in your action at 19 UTC. My kingdom will be playing at 19 UTC as well. My sense is that we're going to have an easy win. If we screw up and I play horrible while sleep deprived, you all can make fun of me for it. I just don't think it's going to happen. But I am going to get a quick nap, and I will let you all get on with your Sundays. Thank you all for hanging out, and I will see you all on the flip side. My YouTube tab just crashed, so I'm not even sure if still live or not.